Tonight on the Black Channel, well, the racist right-wing media is crashing out on each other, and the old dead black media is thirst-trapping for views, and we are here for it. So we're going to go ahead and begin with Matt the Moron Walsh. Matt Walsh here, as we all know, white supremacist extraordinaire. This guy is obsessed with hating black people in every way. I mean, I don't know what happened to him. All I can imagine is he came home from school one day and some fella, it was 4 or 5 black dudes were giving his girlfriend the business, and he's been traumatized ever since. So in any case here, so he's made his life living here trying to hate on us, and I guess you have to do what you're bad at in his case. Now, as we pointed out here last week here, Matt and the boys here, let me go ahead and put this up on your screen so I can show this to you all. Matt and the boys, well, Matt there, you'll notice that just last week here. Now, he was doing this thing about the situation there in Texas and in Frisco, Texas there about Carmelo Anthony. We covered that here last week. And he was obviously he was doing his usual hating. So it was one of those things right there. That's the only thing he ever does there. That's it. And it would have been bad enough for him right there. It would have been bad enough. He's been on a tear about it. He doesn't like it. This is a guy who defends Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny. So if you want a monster, I can just say this, Matt Monster goes hand in hand. But then there's something else that's happened. Right after that, Matt makes this video. Megyn Kelly thinks I don't understand women, but does she understand men? And folks, by the end of this video, Matt Walsh is going to literally cancel Megyn Kelly. What? Oh no, I'm serious. I mean, he's literally going to cancel Megyn Kelly. I want to say in advance here that this one video so encapsulates the hypocrisy of these right-wing nutcases. It shows how outrageously hypocritical they are. The things that they claim that they are against, they are going to show vividly that they're 100% for them right here in this video. So this is 20 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this is 20 minutes that basically debunks them for the billionth time, although now it's outrageously embarrassing. All right, now Matt's going to start the video here, and he is upset because Megyn Kelly has recently taken a position he doesn't like, but he's using this latest thing where she takes a position he doesn't like to remind people of a long-standing beef and a long-standing grudge that he's been holding against her for comments that she said over a year ago. So I'm going to go ahead and let him say in his own words here. Fair use, Matty boy. Fair use, by the way.
I need to rewind the clock by about a year to set the stage. And before I do that, I need to preface everything I'm saying by saying that I personally like Megyn. I've been on her show a number of times. I've had nothing but pleasant interactions with her. I met her in person for the first time at one of the inaugural balls in January. I found her to be very kind in person. So I have no personal problem with her at all. But she does have a bit of a problem with me, it would seem. So before we get to Megyn's comments this week, I'm going to play something that she said about me last year. And I heard this clip at the time, but I decided not to say anything about it or to respond to it. I try not to get into public spats with people on our own side, which is why I quite frequently let it slide when people on our side, who I thought were friends or at least friendly, take shots at me, which it happens all the time.
Oh, so in other words, this has all been fake camaraderie the whole time. They are all fellow travelers of their right-wing ideology. They can stick together long enough to accomplish some short-term goal, but because they have animosity toward each other already, they're not cool with each other at all for other differing reasons. And just as soon as the smoke settles for a moment, they get the knives out and start furiously slashing and hacking away at each other. Now, remember, he's telling you about something that she said way last year. And he's using something she said recently that had nothing to do with him. And now he's using that to bring it up to say, by the way, hey, Megan, we got some unfinished business for me to handle on you. So just understand that's what's happening here. What he's referencing is something that was said last year, but he's saying something now because Megan commented on career women, and he's using that as his excuse to resurrect what she said last year. He didn't say anything about then, because these people only pretend to be okay with each other. They only pretend to like each other. They only pretend to be okay. They are allies, not friends. And that is ultimately their undoing.
But I feel it necessary to bring this up now because it will provide some important context to Megan's remarks last week. And also, I think the conflict between feminism and what we now call the traditional view of marriage and gender roles is coming to a head. It's coming to a head on the right. And now is the time to get it all out in the open. As conservatives, we have to decide if we want to conserve the view of the sexes that was held by basically everyone in the world for all of human history until the middle of the 20th century, or if we want to conserve feminism. We cannot conserve both. And I know which I prefer. So with that said, let's go back to February 3rd, 2024, when Megyn Kelly appeared on a podcast called Chicks on the Right. At the time that this podcast was recorded, Megyn was pretty angry at me for making some derogatory comments about feminism, as I tend to do. And here is the setup from the host. Listen.
I think it was right after you'd written a book. And so we had you on to talk about your book. And there was some controversy happening at the time with Matt Walsh. And I know you had a beef with him recently on Twitter.
Back then
about
there was
a similar
controversy?
topic. Yes.
Oh boy, see how Megan tries to play dumb with them. So this was last year. She gave this interview and then said, by the way, you been had a beef in the back and forth with Matt. Really? There was? Oh, okay. Yeah, you know damn well, as vindictive and evil as Megyn Kelly is, she knows. She's just like, oh, I didn't think y'all were going to call me out on the spot about this. We didn't know it was going to go there, but yeah, it is.
I think it was right after you'd written a book. And so we had you on to talk about your book. And there was some controversy happening at the time with Matt Walsh. And I know you had a beef with him recently on Twitter.
Back then
about
there was
a similar
controversy?
topic. Yes.
Oh my God.
There was controversy because he's always been the same guy when it comes to women have their place and that needs to be at home and they shouldn't have careers and all that stuff. So
now, please keep in mind, this is a podcast called Chicks on the Right. So these are not liberal females here. Why? These are female right wingers, and they're all letting you know that they have the same view on Matt. Amazing.
I had a beef with him recently on Twitter.
Back then
about
there was a
similar
controversy?
topic. Yes.
Oh my God.
There was controversy because he's always been the same guy when it comes to women have their place and that needs to be at home and they shouldn't have careers and all that stuff. So, and it was about that. And we talked to you about that. And you said something that has never left my brain. And I loved how you said it. And I refer back to it all the time because I struggled with his arguments. He's very persuasive. He's an excellent writer, as I'm sure you know. And his criticisms were like getting to me. And I remember that I asked you about it in that show. And you said, I just know that having a career and family, having that career makes me the best version of myself for my family. And I was like, that is the perfect way to describe how we think, I think how we feel about our own careers.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, so far, so good. I don't hear anything for little old moist Matt to be upset about so far. So what's the issue? The issue shows up right about now.
I was like, that is the perfect way to describe how we think, I think how we feel about our own careers.
Absolutely.
It just really resonated with me. And so when I saw you guys kind of beefing about a month ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever about the similar issue.
Okay, so we'll get to Megan's, what she says in a second. Well, I will say guilty as charged. I have always been the same guy for the most part. Me to shut up. And
Yeah. And by the way, I agree with Megan in that regard there, though, Matt.
jerk, you have to give me that. But Megyn Kelly has had enough of it. She's had enough of my crap, and she wants me to shut up. And I'm not exaggerating. That's what she said verbatim. Listen.
By the way, I can concur with that idea, Matt. Yeah, me and Megan can agree on that one.
And again, having said that, I like the guy. I'm getting a little tired of his nonstop judgment of women who make different choices than the ones he wants us to make. Sorry, Matt, you're not our Jesus. We don't answer to you. Like, live your life the way you want to live it and stop judging everybody who makes a different choice. I'm sick of it. I know you gals, and generally women, we're not judging moms who choose to stay at home and raise their kids. That's a choice we celebrate.
Absolutely
we
not.
love. Those are our sisters and our friends and our moms. Women aren't doing this to other women for the most part. It's guys like Matt. Like, shut up. I'm not out there saying your wife is boring and a loser because she decided not to get a job. I don't think that. I think it's awesome. She's the mother of 6 children. She must be incredibly busy. But why are you looking at every woman who works and trying to pass judgment and make her feel guilty about her choices all the time? It's a fail. We don't feel guilty because of you. But I'm just getting tired of his random posts about how the one woman who said, "Oh, I'm confessing that I really liked it when the guy I dated wanted to pay for the meal." And he's like, "No, you can't have that unless you play the traditionally feminine role." Who died and made you boss of all women? What are you saying?
Oh boy, Megan came with both barrels blazing. And Matt, because it was an election year, and they needed to have unity on the right, Matt didn't say nothing, but obviously he's been seething and holding a grudge about this all this time. So Megan took the damn gloves off on him. Oh, she took the gloves off and outright said, "Shut up."
We don't feel guilty because of you. But I'm just getting tired of his random posts about how the one woman who said, "Oh, I'm confessing that I really liked it when the guy I dated wanted to pay for the meal." And he's like, "No, you can't have that unless you play the traditionally feminine role." Who died and made you boss of all women? What are you saying? I don't know why he feels the need to try to set fake guardrails around our behavior. It's a no, Matt. We don't need you.
Yeah. Although we have seen, though, there are a lot of these conservative pundits, younger ones, the younger women who are kind of taking that discourse and running with it and saying, "Hey, say no to the high-powered careers, ladies."
See how Matt is laid back in his seat there, folks. Boy, he had to take it all in there. You're cutting kind of deep there, Megan. Oh boy, you never seen Matty boy like this.
Discourse and running with it and saying, "Hey, say no to the high-powered careers, ladies."
Wow. Megan. Okay. I confess that I don't take very kindly to being told to shut up, especially by someone who's supposed to be on the same side and who could reach out to me and voice her concerns privately if she wanted to. But it doesn't hurt my...
Oh, that's max hostility right there. By the way, somebody on the same side of me, and you could have reached out to me privately. Oh, Moist Matt is, this is alt-right white male seething right here. Do not be deceived by the floppy beard and the alt-right haircut and the glasses. He is seething right now. As a white man, she is basically in open rebellion against his authority, and he ain't having it. Oh, he's not having it. So Matt is very upset about this, very angry. He's waited, a year to say something now, and he's ready to he had no reason to, but he's ready to let it go. Now, I'm going to go forward a little bit because remember we covered this last week. Megyn Kelly and her white supremacist creed with, Anna Kasparian sitting right there, by the way. So the so-called, remember I said last week about the racial issue, the so-called right-wing white woman and the so-called left-wing white woman, but they're both on the same page when it comes to certain things. So isn't that interesting? Well, when it comes to feminism and career women, I wasn't the only one who noticed that the so-called left-wing female and the so-called right-wing female were both on the same page. And it extends beyond just black folk here. Matt's not the only, I wasn't the only one who noticed it. Matt noticed it, and he took great exception to it.
Listen.
But here's what's happening on the right. Young women, I talk to young conservative women all the time about their lives and their goals and, the things that they want. And what's happening is they can't find men who are maybe more conservative. Usually they're looking for somebody who is religious, like a lot of conservative women tend to be God loving conservatives. And they can't find a lot of young men who want to marry a working woman now. And this is an actual problem that's coming up on the right. And to me, it's so sad because it's like, how did we get to the point where we're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work, if they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and like get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming. Well, why wouldn't we want that? Why would we take somebody who's talented in this field and really wants to make a difference and have the messaging to her be, you're really not that valuable unless you give it up and go into the home and only have a family and only raise a family. And not only are we sending her that message, but young men are actually believing that. They're actually believing it, especially on the right, because like the trad mom has gotten so popular. And it's like, no, if we do that, we're not going to have any strong conservative or right-leaning women to provide a role model for younger conservative women who, and there's nothing to apologize for here, don't necessarily want to spend all their 20s and their 30s getting married and having kids.
So Megyn says that young...
So that was it right there. What you just heard right there, he showed you that because she said that, he dug back in the crates to let you know that, by the way, she dissed him a year ago. So he seized on this as his opportunity to remind everybody that she dissed him a year ago, and now this is his excuse to go after Megyn Kelly because he needed to play nice while Donald Trump was running for president. Now that Trump's in the White House, Moist Matt's trying to get his gangster on, and hey, look here, we've got some business me and Megyn need to settle this score here. So that was what you just heard, was allegedly, supposedly justifying him going on this screed. Now, I'm not going to play the whole thing there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to skip forward to the last few minutes because that's the part that I think is most pertinent and summarizes what he's getting at here. And then, of course, wait till you get to the end.
Okay. A man is not looking for a business partner. He's not looking for someone to provide for him. He wants a wife. He wants a mother for his future children. He wants a helpmate. He wants a woman, not a man. This is not a new phenomenon. Megyn calls this desire of young men a problem that is coming up on the right. But it's not a problem, and it's not coming up. Kim Iverson responded in agreement with Megyn and said that she, quote, doesn't get this trad wife trend.
Now, for those of you who are not familiar with some of this terminology that they're using, when they say trad, that's short for traditional. So when they say trad con, that's traditional conservative. Trad wife is traditional wife. So for those of you who are, I got some older folks here, some of you who are not up on the latest lingo or the latest abbreviations that they use. So that's what trad is short for, is traditional. Now, for Kim Iverson, this is Kim Iverson. I want to say that Kim Iverson she took over on, I think, The Hill. I think Kim Iverson took over on The Hill after Crystal and Cigar left and started breaking points. So I want to say that Kim Iverson took over from them on The Hill, and then she had a falling out with them, and then she left, and now she's got her own YouTube channel. So that's Kim Iverson, but very clearly she is on the same page as Megyn. So the girl power on the right is real. The girl power on the right is real, and they are asserting themselves with no apologies, and they are throwing sharp elbows. So they are letting you know they are united on the white female right. They are united over there. They are not playing around. They're not joking, and they are flying their banners openly. So the white women on the right are in open rebellion. It is an open insurrection. They are in open rebellion against white male authority and white male primacy. However, do not be deceived. Do not let this spat that they're having and will continue to have, and it's only going to get worse, do not let this internal conflict deceive you about what it is they really want and what their real goal is. This is an all villains cast. Remember, this is an all villains cast. They are all villains here. There are no good guys in this scenario. They're only fighting over who is going to call the shots in white supremacy. They're not fighting over will there be white supremacy. They're only fighting over who's going to hold the knife that slices up the white supremacist cake and who decides who's going to get the biggest slice of it. That's the only thing that they're fighting over. They're not fighting over humanity, justice, decency. That's not what they're fighting over. They're not fighting over, quote, traditional values. That's only a euphemism, a figure of speech for who is going to set policy. Now, the white males are like, we built this damn thing. We constructed the whole system. You chicks want us to build the system and then you just move in and start running it. It don't work that way. We built the system. We're the ones who need to continue running it. And the females are like, we can run it better than you. So we can achieve white supremacy better than you guys can. And the men are saying over their dead bodies. So please remember what this is really all about. This is really white supremacist factions fighting over who will control the direction in which it goes and how it accomplishes its goal. They're not fighting over justice, just who's going to be in charge of it. Who's going to be in charge of it?
But what she's calling a trend, or what Megan says is just coming up, is in fact the norm. It's the way human society has been organized since the dawn of civilization. A young man seeking a woman who will have his children and prioritize raising them and keeping a home is doing the same thing that billions of other young men have done since time immemorial. This traditional approach is not some new fad invented by TikTok influencers, nor is it a far-right conspiracy. It is the way of human civilization. These young men, they want what their grandfathers wanted, and what their grandfathers' grandfathers wanted, and what their grandfathers' grandfathers' grandfathers wanted, and on through the ages. The trend, the fad, the new thing, Megan, is feminism.
Oh, man. So Matt is calling Megan out directly. No holds barred, bare knuckle, the gloves are off. He's calling Megan out as a feminist. Damn! Oh, Matt is like, look here, heifer, you want to take the gloves off and go at people? All right, let's go at it. This boy, Moist Matt, is trying to pretend he can channel some masculinity here. He's saying, hey, look here, you're a feminist. What's new, Megan, is this feminism. So the people, things have gotten ugly quickly. The gloves are officially off. And isn't this indicative of the dysfunction over there on the alt-right and the white supremacist right? Take a look at the White House. You got Elon Musk openly dissing Peter Navarro in the Trump White House. You got Matt and Megan going at each other like Tom and Jerry. And you think we're all going to sit back and let you all run a damn thing when this is what you are at heart? The hell out of here.
However you feel about career women who find their value and purpose in the working world, there's no question that they are the ones doing something new. Feminism sent women out of the home and into cubicles and boardrooms. Feminism convinced many women to desire professional success over and above family and children. And now
I want to back that up right quick. Did you hear what he just said? I want to play the whole thing together so you hear that he says women in the workplace and women pursuing careers. That's the new part.
The new thing, Megan, is humans want what their grandfathers wanted and what their grandfathers' grandfathers' grandfathers wanted, and on through the ages. The trend, the fad, the new thing, Megan, is feminism. However you feel about career women who find their value and purpose in the working world, there's no question that they are the ones doing something new.
Okay, notice he said the new thing is feminism, and females finding fulfillment in the workplace is the new thing. So he is telling you, oh, this workplace thing, that is feminism. So follow the construction of what he just said. Feminism is the new thing, and this wanting to be in the workplace, that's new. Oh, okay, well, that's feminism. That's what he's telling you is, yeah, this workplace thing, that's feminism. That's all that is new. Now, of course, this is not new for black women, but for white society here, and to be totally honest, it's even a conflation even in that regard, in a lot of regards. But this is about controlling a narrative and who is going to have authority, not about what is factually, historically accurate.
Megyn, is feminism. However you feel about career women who find their value and purpose in the working world, there's no question that they are the ones doing something new. Feminism sent women out of the home and into cubicles and boardrooms. Feminism convinced many women to desire professional success over and above family and children. And now feminists are angry that men were not reprogrammed along with them. Okay? Men don't want.
Please remember, when he keeps saying feminists are angry that men were not reprogrammed with them, he's talking about Megyn. He's referring to Megyn every time he keeps jabbing that feminist thing.
Over and above family and children. And now feminists are angry that men were not reprogrammed along with them. Okay? Men don't want what feminism is selling. You may think they should want it. You may want them to want it, but they don't. They look out and they see that ever since the rise of feminism, divorce rates have skyrocketed, birth rates have plummeted, 60 million babies are dead, and most people are, by every metric, much more miserable. And they don't want that. You cannot make them want it. And getting angry at them for not wanting it is, first of all, fruitless, second, arrogant, third, unfair, and fourth, foolish. Because these young men that Megyn is referring to have an innate desire to be providers. Okay? That's why they are not especially interested in women who put their careers first. They want to provide. The desire to provide is a noble desire. Even if many of these men will end up splitting the financial load with their wives in some way, still the desire to provide is noble, and it should be encouraged, not shamed.
Please notice that when folk like Moist Matt say provide, he's referring to control of resources, because that's what gives him leverage. So you're a provider, but she has to stop working, so now he controls the resources. And so his primacy in the home is unquestioned because he'll control the resources. Just notice, in his ideology, that's the way he defines it. That's why he wants to engineer it in that way. So that's not benevolence that he's describing. That's not generosity that he's describing. For him, he's describing a system of control.
It's not sad. There's nothing sad here, Megyn. These young men are experiencing a deep, ancient yearning, a yearning to leave home and find a wife and become one flesh, as the scripture says, and then to have children and carry on their bloodline, and then to go back out into the world on a mission to provide for their family, thereby fulfilling their destiny as men. This desire is primal and timeless. It is not a primal, timeless desire for a colleague or a business partner. It is a desire for a wife, a woman he can provide for and fight for and conquer the world for. And in return, he wants a woman who will have his children and raise and love them and prioritize them above anything and show him appreciation and respect and affection. That's what young men want. That's what any man wants. And they should be allowed to say that out loud. Okay, men are allowed to talk about what they want and what they need in relationships. But the problem is that every time a man talks about that, you've got women like Megyn Kelly who get upset about it. They get angry. They get like, how dare men have any needs, have anything that they want in any of this? Almost every young...
Oh, Matt's trying to raise that nasalated voice of his, boy. Oh, Matt is heated, boy. Matt's hot. Matt's angry. Now I want to play for you all the last minute of his little tantrum here. And this is where things get super ugly.
Young man wants this. How dare men have any needs, have anything that they want in any of this? Almost every young man wants this until our feminist matriarchal society beats it out of him or convinces him that he can never have it. He can never have the thing that his grandfather had and that his grandfather's grandfathers had and his grandfather's grandfathers had and on and on and on. So if you want to know why so many young men are demoralized and depressed and broken, it's because for their whole lives, they've been told that what they want down at the deepest level of their soul, they should not want and they cannot have. Every man before them in history could have it, but not them. We're too enlightened for that now. The feminists took over, and they know better. They know better than our ancestors knew. They know better than the combined wisdom of all human history. That's the message that these young men hear. You want to talk about sad, Megan? That's sad. That is a tragedy of catastrophic proportions. There's nothing wrong with what these young men want. There is something very wrong with the culture that tells them they shouldn't want it. And that is why Megyn Kelly is today, sadly, canceled.
Damn! What? Damn! What? Damn! Oh man, let me roll that back right quick. Did we hear that correctly?
Megyn Kelly is today, sadly, canceled.
Yeah, we heard that right the first time, didn't we?
Sadly, canceled.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Culture that tells them they shouldn't want it. And that is why Megyn Kelly is today, sadly, canceled.
Now, folks, this is, of course, the screaming, hideous, ridiculous hypocrisy of the white supremacist right. These are the people who told everybody that what was wrong with the world is cancel culture. And lo and be damn hold, who in the hell, when it suits him, all of a sudden, why he says, give me that damn cancel culture horn over there. Let me toot this thing. Now, isn't that amazing? Yeah, isn't canceling supposed to be woke? Oh man, Matt woke Walsh. Oh, and moist Matt woke Walsh. Oh man, this is ugly. This is a bad look. This is a bad look, but it's not just a bad look for Matt. Remember Megyn Kelly talking to Anna. Hey folks, this is two woke ideologies for the price of one.
Find a lot of young men who want to marry a working woman now. And this is an actual problem that's coming up on the right. And to me, it's so sad because it's like, how did we get to the point where we're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work, if they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and like get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming. I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming.
Really? Another Megyn Kelly voice? You mean female? That the missing ingredient is just having a female?
Well, why wouldn't we want that? Why would we take somebody who's talented in this field and really wants to make a difference and have the messaging to her be, you're really not that valuable unless you give it up and go into the home and only have a family and only raise a family. And not only are we sending her that message, but young men are actually believing that. They're actually believing it, especially on the right, because like the trad mom has gotten so popular. And it's like, no, if we do that, we're not going to have any strong conservative or right-leaning women to provide a role model for younger conservative women who and there's nothing to apologize for here, don't necessarily want to spend all their 20s and their 30s getting married and having kids. Right-leaning women to provide a role model for younger conservative women who has gotten so popular. And it's like, no, if we do that, we're not going to have any strong conservative or right-leaning women.
Folks, do my Humpty ears deceive me? Isn't she playing identity politics?
What? Damn!
Folks, wasn't that identity? She said that you should be listening to me because we're strong conservative women and we need to be role models for other women. So the men cannot be role models for the women. No, you need women to be role models to women. Folks, ain't that woke identity politics? Ain't that it? So Megan Ku Klux Kelly is bringing on the identity politics, and Moist Matt Woke Walsh is bringing on cancel culture. People, I'll be damned. Did you ever think you would live to see the day? Didn't have to make it through 6 months of the Trump administration before the whole damn thing fell apart. You know what you just heard. Was that not identity politics? That we need to listen to her because she's a female. And she's telling white men, no, you need me here because I'm a female. We need females to speak to other females. As soon as you said female, that's identity politics. So these people understand this is white supremacy. Rest in power, Brother Neely Fuller, when he told us that white supremacy takes both sides of the argument. And what he meant is that they co-opt both sides of the language. The stuff that today they're telling you that they're against, that will be exactly what they're going to be championing and using tomorrow if it's to their advantage. So today, when you say it, identity politics is woke. When Megyn Kelly shows up tomorrow, identity politics is open-minded and traditional conservative. What? Oh, when you said it, it was woke. When she says it, not only is it not woke or progressive, why, as a matter of fact, this is traditional conservative. This is right-wing conservative when she says it. When she does it, when she uses it, it's traditional conservative. So, man, it's crazy how the world keep turning. And of course, as your anchorman of the New Black Media, it is incumbent upon me to make sure you all are aware of this. If you all see that this is white supremacy doing a flip-flop, oh, give me the boxing glove emoji in the chat room while these two fight it out, and hit the likes button for me. There's over 3,000 people in here live tonight. But if you agree that this is a white supremacist flip-flop, oh man, talk about the woke right. Give me the boxing glove emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me if you're not a Matt Walsh, Megyn Kelly lover, by the way. If you are, don't worry about it. But if you agree that, boy, they are flip-flopping their asses off, hit the likes button for me and give me the boxing glove emoji. So, yes, indeed, folks. Now, let me go ahead, now that I've said all of that, let me go ahead and give you the reminder on this. Did I call it or did I call it?
And deal with it.
Folks, I said all last year, go back over my programs, that the most devastating thing that would happen to the racist right is if you give them power, because they have not changed. They are every bit as evil, every bit as malicious, every bit as deceitful and devious as they've always been. And that as soon as they have power, contrary to popular belief, they are not going to just be trying to stab us. We're ready for them. They're going to turn on each other, not slowly, not after delay. Soon as they get some power, it's going right to battle. The first one we saw was Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk. I called that one way before the election. My program is up about that. When I said, if you all think that these bastards are going to get along for any length of time, you have not paid attention to a damn thing. It is not enough for somebody to talk about this months later. You need a source that can call these things and predict it and project it way before time. So my documentation is platinum plated. I said all of this before they even got to the White House, that they were going to have a falling out and that it was going to be Elon who would be at the epicenter of it. First thing he did was throw the other tech billionaire overboard. That was the first order of business. Then you hear that him and Trump have been butting heads about things. How could it possibly not happen? Then you hear Elon got to go. He's already going at Peter Navarro. Now it's trickled down to their media puppets, their media muppets like Moist Matt and Megan Ku Klux Kelly. Now they're going at each other and they're hardly the only ones. So yeah, y'all, it's a free-for-all out here. They've been waiting to go at each other. They just wanted to solidify the political power so that now they can start consolidating who's going to be running it now that there's something to be fought over. Brothers and sisters from around the world, I said this going on 2 decades ago, and I'm here to remind you, people always wonder, what would white supremacy ever do if it ever accomplished its diabolical goal of ethnic cleansing and absolute dominance? What would white supremacy do the day after if all of us disappeared tomorrow? And if you ever wanted to know what would happen to white supremacy if all of us disappeared tomorrow, this is what will happen. They'll all remember how much they hate each other, and they will immediately turn their knives on each other. Because black empowerment, you see, black empowerment is grounded in justice. Black empowerment is grounded in justice. Black empowerment doesn't require a victim. It doesn't require an oppressor or the oppressed. This is why it's such a foreign concept and is so hated by the white supremacist mind. Black empowerment only requires justice. Its foundation is justice. If you want another word for black empowerment, the word is justice. Everyone wins in our vision because there are no oppressed, because there is no oppressor. It is mankind and nature finally, again, balanced. White supremacy is about imbalance. White supremacy is not founded in justice. It is founded in injustice. You can't have injustice without a victim. So white supremacy draws its power by uniting people. They get power from uniting people, but they unite people in hating and oppressing someone. So everyone gets on the same page and they're all working towards a unified goal, and that unity does give them power, but they gain power by finding someone to oppress and someone to hate and someone to victimize. And that's what they rally around. Without someone to oppress, their injustice ideology can't produce anything. So even if you got rid of us tomorrow, they would immediately have to select a new target for everyone to rally around, to go after, so that they can remain united and thus empowered. We developed a system of justice that does not require oppression to be empowered. They have created a system of injustice which absolutely requires someone to oppress, someone to harm, someone to mistreat. It requires it. Without it, this thing doesn't have fuel. That's what would happen if we were not there. The fighting wouldn't stop. The hating wouldn't stop. The lynching wouldn't stop. They'll just start going at each other now. Which, by the way, they've been doing the whole time. It's just they can agree on going at us more than they agree at going at each other. And in the absence of us being around, they continue to knife each other. Let me give you all an example. HOAs, homeowners associations, these basically quasi-governmental setups by private citizens. They gave private citizens the ability to set up basically a quasi-governmental structure that can enact and impose and enforce rules against other homeowners. You own your home, you pay your property taxes. You're not in trouble with the city, but you're in trouble with the homeowners association, who can take actions against you up to and including removing you from the house you paid for. Well, that power was reserved for governments right up until black folk started buying too many houses. Next thing you know, shout out to Levittown. Next thing you know, when black folks started getting the ability to buy homes in numbers that unsettled the white supremacists, here come the HOAs. As you all know, or you should know, HOAs were invented and created for the purposes of basically being quasi-governmental structures that could invoke their own laws specifically for the purposes of keeping black people out. They set up rules and covenants, remember? That's the whole basis of the HOA, setting up rules and covenants, which the Levittowns were based on. Rules and covenants, and the only real covenant was no niggas. If you sell the house, can't sell to a nigga. So that was the whole purpose of it. That's what brought it into being. That's what they were founded on. Don't believe me? Look up the history of HOAs. Do not believe me. It's right there when you look it up. When you Google it, it's right there that the original goal was to keep black folk out. That's what the homeowner, if you even listen to the naming of it, that tells you, and that's that we hear that kind of stuff against us. Homeowners Association, Concerned Citizens Association. What are you concerned about? The niggas might be around here. All right, but folks, when you turn on the news now, what do you hear about? White homeowners fighting, white homeowners shooting at each other, white homeowners coming to blows, white homeowners filing lawsuits, white homeowners talking about the HOA board are a bunch of Nazis. You've heard this now for decades. Okay, but these are in neighborhoods where there are no black people. Did you get that? No black people around. And yet there's still nonstop conflict in their HOAs. You'd figure that with the HOA, everything would be smooth sailing, it'd be tranquil, everything would be completely quiet. It's noisier and messier than it's ever been. Without black people around, they find whichever white person that they think is most vulnerable, and they all gang up and target him or her. They need somebody to go after, someone to target, someone to hate. And if there were no black people, they would simply select whoever the undesirable white person is. And now you gotta go. Are you a single mom? Are you gay? Are you gainfully employed? Is your job nice enough? Do you drive the right kind of car that we all think you should be driving? You need to be driving a pickup truck. Only a God-fearing American would drive a V8. You shouldn't be seen driving a V6 or V4. Okay, you go get the biggest truck you can, lift it up, and then, oh, your truck is too big. Okay, let me go ahead and get a smaller truck. Oh, your truck is too small, smaller engine there. Okay, let me go ahead and get an electric car. Oh, we don't like electric cars here. Okay, well, let me go ahead and get that V8. You're polluting the environment. You should have got an electric car. That's what it becomes. People, the same white folk who made Elon Musk a multi-billionaire are now trying to burn down his dealerships. You made Elon Musk. All you folks in California and New York who were ragging people like me for driving Tahoes and Escalades, The same folk who are ragging me and ragging folks like us who drive big V8s and telling us that we're wrong and you need to get an electric car, which can go 50 miles on a charge and then takes 5 hours to charge up. Well, Elon Musk was the greatest thing since sliced bread, right up until he got mobbed up with Trump. Now he's a demon. So he wasn't a demon when he was coming from South Africa. He wasn't a demon when he was getting sued for discriminating against black folk. He wasn't a demon for all of his slick anti-black racism that he's been espousing now for a decade that we've been documenting. He wasn't bad then. He wasn't bad then. That didn't stop any of you from buying his crap then. Basically a rolling iPhone. They basically took the batteries out of the iPhones and said, okay, now you have an electric car. What the hell? So he wasn't bad then. But as soon as he gets together with a politician you don't like, now he's the worst thing ever. So when we've been saying it for the last decade, that wasn't legit, that wasn't relevant, nobody needs to listen, you niggas just angry all the damn time, sit down, shut up. Now all of a sudden the very guy that you made a multi-billionaire, he's basically part of the federal budget, part of whole state budgets. They set up the charging network specifically for his company. They made him a multi-billionaire. Now you're upset because the demon that you created, the monster that you created, is chewing your damn leg off? So now he's bad. Now he is. He wasn't when we said it. Now he is. Yeah. Now, if you had listened to us a decade ago, he never would have gotten as far as he's gotten. Elon Musk would not be where he is today if the rest of societies, particularly white society, had listened to us a decade ago. He would never be where he is today. Now that he's where he is today, now they want to try to put the genie back in the bottle. Now they want to try to stuff the genie back into the bottle again. Not gonna happen. Too late for that. You should have been stomping with us when you were telling us pipe down, ain't no issue. But what it does illustrate to you all is that even if we were completely removed from the equation, that would not stop the conflict. They would simply decide whoever is the most undesirable white person and go with them. And the conflict will go on because the conflict must go on. So I can show you organization after organization, incident after incident in society where we're not involved, and yet conflict is a must. It's mandatory. Now I want to go back here to Moist Matt, and I want to show you all something, and I will let you all decide for yourselves exactly what it is or what it means. I'm going to let you all decide for yourselves. And I could say a lot of things here, but I'm going to let you decide for yourselves. Now, I want you to see something here. Now, Matt Walsh with his, this is really verging on a sexual fetish at this point, Matt. This is verging on a sexual fetish. If you'll direct your eyes to your screen, you can see in the middle there where it says, "Why are we watching this?" How does this influencer's morning routine have almost 1 billion views? Well, you can see who it is there. You can see what Matt is looking at, and, well, I'll play this for you all so you can see and find out, this kind of sounds slave master plantation-ish. A real butt-breaking-ish thing right here. So he finds a muscular black man and he's very unhappy. So physical fitness is a bad thing? I don't know, but, well, let Matt speak for himself.
This has to be, I'm not sure if it claims the title yet. I don't know where this is ranked, but this has to be one of the most viral videos in the history of X, and that includes when X was Twitter. This is a platform that's been around for, 15 years or something. This video that I'm about to play has got to be one of the most viral videos ever in the history of the platform. And not just on Twitter. This is originally a TikTok video that we're about to see. So just on Twitter, this video has 700 million views. only on Twitter, in the last 4 or 5 days. Over 700 million. I looked last night, it was 700 million. So it's over 700 million, which is insane. And even more insane when you see what the video is, if you haven't seen it yet. Now, 700 million views, it seems like every person in the country has seen it. But if you haven't, this is a video of some influencer's morning routine, or at least it's this influencer's performance of what he wants you to think his morning routine is.
Why does this bother you so much, Matt? Is there something you'd like to tell us, a black male fetish here? Why does this bother? Why does this trouble you so, Matt? Why is this something you feel the need to try to criticize? Why does this bother you? Let's see what bothers him.
Because as you'll see, this is definitely not actually his morning routine. This is not anyone, no human being has a morning routine like this one. But this is the video, 700 million views on one platform. There's no audio, so I'll probably have to narrate a little bit. And so we'll go ahead and play. So here, there it is, 3:52 a.m. He's standing there because now he's brushing his teeth, 3:54 a.m., bottled water. He's washing his mouth out with bottled water, 4 a.m., goes out on the porch. 4:04 a.m., now he's doing some push-ups. 4:17 a.m., now he's just standing there. He's got bottled water again. Now he's sitting down at 4:30 a.m. I guess he's praying. He's writing a note at 4:50. Now 4:55, he's writing for about 10 minutes. 5:30 a.m., 5:46 a.m., dunking his face into ice water. 6 a.m., getting dressed. I guess he's going out to do a run. Putting on a bunch of jewelry to go run.
Matt, why are you so mad, bruh? Matt, why you mad? Putting on a bunch of jewelry to go run. Matt, why you mad? Did your girlfriend must have sat up here and had a foursome with Alpha Kappa Alpha? Damn! Why you so mad, Matt? I'm telling you, man, his girlfriend must have got, I'm talking about fourplexed by the Q-Dogs for a man to be this upset and this petty. We need to talk to Matt's woman. That's who we really need to have this conversation with, because that's where his animosity must be coming from. He's just just anything that black men do. So now you've got a black man, he's doing nothing. He's by himself. He's not sagging his pants. He's obviously in good shape, so we're not worried about obesity. A fine, upstanding citizen, and Matt's got a problem. Dude shows himself putting on a watch. He's going to wear jewelry to go running. Talk about the Nazi HOA. I mean, his chick must have got triple teamed by the Kappas or the Alphas for him to be this petty every day like this. Matt, you need counseling.
Minutes. 5:30 a.m., 5:46 a.m., dunking his face into ice water. 6 a.m., getting dressed. I guess he's going out to do a run. Putting on a bunch of jewelry to go run.
First of all, it's called a watch, Matt. It tells time, Matt. It's a lot easier to handle than a cell phone, Matt. You wouldn't know anything about that, Matt, because you don't work out. But by the way, if you're going running, yeah, you want a wristwatch. You don't want a cell phone. That's going to break your rhythm. You're all off balance. You got to look around all crazy. So any person who goes jogging knows, yeah, your way of telling time would not be a cell phone. It would be a wristwatch. And you would think in this overloaded technocratic era where everybody's glued to their iPhones that Matt would have recognized this immediately, because he pretends on his talk about made up sets, by the way, that nobody lives. You're pretending to be some simple-minded woodsman playing the banjo. Well, and you're pretending to be a traditional conservative, and yet you can't identify that, by the way, a person who would go running, they don't want this technological burden. It needs to be real simple and real easy. So yes, it might be considered to be old-fashioned, but yeah, you want a wristwatch. so you can immediately see the time and don't have to go through all the extra drudgery or throwing yourself off balance while you're jogging or running or bicycling to take out a cell phone. Now, I had to explain that. Why can't Matt explain it? Oh, I'm sorry, because he hating like hell. He's mad as hell. Matt, I have the sneaking suspicion that your broad came through, that your broad brought you this on TikTok, and it's kind of burned a hole in your soul. You remember your girlfriend dancing, the baby got back one time. You remember that, and it's never left your mind. It's never, your chick was talking about she wished she wanted to go to the Usher concert, and it's never left your mind. And you're just salty and arrogant and just, all messed up about this. So, Matt, consider therapy. No, don't consider therapy. Just go ahead and get it. Dude, this is a talk you need to have with your chick, and you need to let her know that you're very, very unhappy and very insecure about this. Because all this alt-right stuff here, it's not helping you, Matt. You're looking crazy.
I guess he's going out to do a run, putting on a bunch of jewelry to go run, putting the fanny pack on. Okay, now he's going down 6:24 a.m. The day started at 3:50 a.m. Now he's running. 7:30 a.m. Heading to the pool. Jumping in the pool. Getting out of the pool. It's 7:50 a.m. 8 a.m. Now he's leaving. A.m. 50 a.m.
Okay. This bothers Matt right here, don't it? Oh boy, Matt, this bothers the hell out of you. Now, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that muscular guy that you see on, TikTok all the time and running, like he's exercising all the time? Isn't that guy who does that? I don't know if he's the military dude who like picks up weights while he's on the treadmill. I don't know if this is the same guy, but isn't this one of these fellows he's always doing these really extreme exercises all the time? He's doing all this crazy running all the time and stuff. So it's not like he's new to this or that he just posted his first video and people just heard of him. I want to say that's this guy's thing. So this is all very, very different from what he usually does. He's usually posting a bunch of workout stuff and things, really a bunch of high impact exercises. I want to say this is the guy who does that. So yeah, you take a look at what's on your screen right here. Matt is like, yeah, he don't like this. Matt don't like this. He doesn't like this at all. Matt doesn't like this to see a black man who looks so calm. He's living too lavish. He's living too lavish. He's living too nice. He looks too calm. He looks like he's enjoying his life too much, and Matt can't help but hate. Then you show the folks working around him while he is just, cooling, and you're looking, the idea that he's being served by non-black people. See, this is an image that Matt can't get out of his head. This right here, you don't look subservient. You don't look dominated. You don't look stressed. You don't look oppressed. There is a disturbance in the force. Something is hella wrong. You ain't supposed to be looking like this, moving like this, feeling like this. Every time you turn around, dude is sitting there looking like he's meditating. What does that mean? He's telling you, I'm not stressed. And Matt is like, and there's the damn problem. You don't look oppressed enough. You don't look sad enough, downtrodden enough. You don't look like you kiss ass on white supremacy enough. You're not doing enough. And Matt is absolutely bothered by it.
8 a.m. Now he's leaving. Okay, we're going to take a shower. We don't need to see this, but he decided to film that.
Matt? Why did you point out about the shower thing, Matt? Matt? Joe, steamy shower scene. Damn! Matt, this is not good. I detect some denial there, Matt. You fighting the feeling. Matt, nobody pointed it out except you. You're fighting the feeling, Matt. Okay, you're dry snitching on yourself, Matt.
But he decided to film that. 8:30 a.m. eating a banana, wiping a banana on his face at 8:34 a.m.
So looking at it, bro, we gotta go ahead.
Dunking his face into water again, 9:15 a.m. Now he's eating breakfast. Okay. And what do we get to? We get to 9:20.
No, he ain't just eating breakfast. Wait a minute, y'all. Are those Caucasian hands? Are those Caucasian hands? Oh, Matt's head's gonna explode, y'all. Matt is like, oh, this is a violation. Find that chick and put her on trial. Are those white women's hands?
And what do we get to?
Those look like white woman's hands to me. So I don't know who the fella is, but them look like white woman's hands to me. Oh, Matt is upset. Matt is upset. If she's not white, she hella high yellow. If she's not white, she hella high. She's enough to trigger Matt. She might not be, if she's not Caucasian, because I can't be sure, but if she's not Caucasian, that's enough to trigger Matt. But them looking like white hands with this resolution. Them looking like white hands. Okay, old Matt is upset.
Okay. And what do we get to? We get to 9:25 a.m. He's finally eating breakfast. Oh, there's more bottled water. Fancy bottled water. Now,
fancy bottled water? Folks, white supremacy is a mental, emotional, and spiritual disorder. It really is. We're hating on bottled water? Fancy bottle. What the hell is he supposed to? Now, if he had a 40 ounce, damn! Matt would have criticized him if he had a 40 ounce. He would have criticized him if it was a Coke. He would have criticized him if it was coffee. He has bottled water and he's still criticizing him. You can't win in a system of white supremacy. The problem isn't what you do. The problem is who you are. Matt, you are jealous as hell. I wish we could send old boy over there to your house so you can see that doe-eyed look that your wife would give him. Oh, man. Matt would lose his mind. Matt would lose his mind. If his wife had to stand next to old boy in line at Whole Foods at the checkout register and Matt catch her shooting her eyes and cutting her eyes over at him, oh, Matt might body slam the woman right there in the middle of the store. What? He might body slam her in the middle of the store. It would be ugly. He can't even contain the hate. His fancy bottled water. I mean, okay, he's living a completely healthy lifestyle. If this was Jillian Michaels or a white fitness influencer, would it be you're wearing your watch to go running, Jillian? Your fancy bottled water, Jillian? Would that be what he would say if this was a white person? You know full well he would not do that.
So this is a morning routine that begins at 3:50 a.m. and ends at like 9:45 a.m. That's 6 hours. His morning routine is 6 hours long. And it's actually a lot longer than that because in real time, he had to set up all those camera angles. Every time he was walking out of if you catch him walking in a hallway or walking into an elevator, he had to set up the tripod, get the shot, come back, collect the camera, and then go walk it again. So the act.
Unless, of course, he had another person with him, you know, like the two hands we just saw serving him eggs. By the way, Matt, I know that's eating you alive, but by the way, Matt, he could have done that, yeah. Then again, he could have had another person with him, you know.
Actual morning routine, as it was documented, was probably more like 19 hours long. By the time he was finished.
Y'all, I mean, this is Matt. We see what your real problem with black men is. You see that which you wish you were but can never be. Now you're just fabricating stuff to say, but nobody could do that. And then if you show them how it can be done, oh, well, okay, you lie first and have to give in later. Look, Matt, here's the real problem. Matt figures that this, I don't know what the hell kind of Santa Claus beard that's supposed to be. Matt thinks that that's macho. You know, Matt thinks that this is what the women really want. somebody dressed like damn me Little House on the Prairie, or some of this alt-right traditional stuff, plaid shirts and beards with the haircut that looks like it's frozen in place and was carved in your scalp. He thinks this is a real man. And to see confirmation of almost 1 billion views that ain't nobody checking for what you doing here, this broke his soul. This is like somebody's grandfather trying to convince you that we need to go back to the Amish way of life and buggy whips. It's been wholly rejected. Now he's trying to guilt trip you into valuing what he's doing because he realizes this is incontrovertible evidence. Your way ain't working. So take a look at what he's doing. He looks like the brawny man without the brawn. Damn! He looks like the brawny man if the brawny man just skipped going to the gym all damn me together. Boy, it's rough to be Matt.
Finished it, it was time for another morning routine. So this guy is stuck in a perpetual loop of morning routines. This guy has not slept in 5 years because it's like Sisyphus with the boulder, but it's just morning routines that never end. Did you know that over 140,000 family farms American meat delivered? And of course it's totally fake. This is not what anyone's morning routine looks like. If I was doing a video of my morning routine,
do y'all want me to fill in the gaps of what Matt Walsh's morning routine would be? Can you? I can tell you what Matt Walsh's morning routine is. He wakes up. He looks up and says, "Damn them niggas." Damn. He looks over at his wife. If she's still asleep, she should be sleeping with one eye open, but if she's still asleep, he looks over at her. You know what you did with those black fellas in college. You know what you did. I only stayed with you for the children. He gets up. He turns on Fox News. He puts on his cell phone or his iPad. He turns on Fox News. He turns on Newsmax. He turns on whatever racist YouTuber you can find other than himself. That's the first thing he does. He turns it on before he brushes his teeth or anything else. He does that first. He goes in the bathroom and combs out that scruffy beard. He's sitting there in the bathroom trying to do that part in his hair like Back to the Future or like he's Richie Valens. He goes in the closet to find his nicest retro plaid shirt. They're all khaki pants. He stands there for a little bit. Takes him about 20 minutes to put all that on because he has to recite the 14 words. What? He has to recite the 14 words after he does every bit. To put on one sock, 14 words. We must build a future market. He drinks his coffee, but it ain't gonna be black. Damn! Oh, he ain't gonna have his coffee black. I mean, he wants it, but he don't, but he does, but he don't, but he's conflicted. He's conflicted when he gets in front of the coffee maker. It's like, I feel sexually dominated. I feel sexually dominated. Now, he makes his woman drink her coffee with cream, but somebody said he drinks milk. He's sitting there in front of the TV. He's thinking about what he's done with his life and hasn't. He's thinking about how much he hates niggas. He's imagining if he's sitting up here idolizing Bull Connor. He's got pictures of Bull Connor and Lincoln Rockwell over the television. He's watching reruns of Andy Griffith. He's watching reruns of Andy Griffith and Leave It to Beaver. No, he's eating lettuce sandwiches. Damn! He's eating lettuce sandwiches. with mayonnaise. He's eating lettuce sandwiches. He answers some texts from Ben Shapiro. Hey, what you doing, bro? Make sure you're down here at the office by 10 today. We have to review some things for the Negroes. We have a Black Lives Matter video we're going to make today. Even though there's no Black Lives Matter, we're going to do that. Make sure you show up. I'm guessing his iPhone. All right, Ben. I will be there. Kids wake up eventually. He makes sure they go to school or doesn't. He walks down the driveway in his homeowners association where everyone has their letters on their cars. Make sure you mow your grass by the 12th or you will face legal action. Damn! He gets into his Subaru. And he turns his FM radio to the 89.9. I don't give a damn where you are on the planet. 89.9 on the FM dial is the boringest station that you can imagine. It's going to be NPR. It's going to be some local radio talk. It's going to be a country, whatever 89.9 is on your FM radio dial. That's the most boring thing. Oh, you can watch the dust. You can watch your hairs grow on your arm. It's so boring. He's sitting there driving in traffic like Michael Douglas from Falling Down. He's got both hands on the steering wheel. At 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. He's got both hands on the steering wheel. He's having fantasies about road rage and other people. Some young black fella drives by in a Dodge Charger. He thinks to himself, where's Darren Wilson when we need him? That's Matt Walsh's morning routine. That's his right there. He gets to the office. He's wondering and suspicious of what his wife is doing while he's not there. He knows she's texting and DMing some niggas. He knows it. He can't prove it. He's tried to catch her so many times, but he can't prove it. He knows it, but he can't prove it. Oh, what a miserable life Matt leads. What a miserable existence this must be. Then he gets there with Ben Shapiro and they're both making corny ass, lame ass jokes. Hey Matt, you know the best thing about Tuesday mornings? What's that, Ben? Wednesday mornings. That's a good one there, Ben.
Which I would never do. But my morning routine...
Oatmeal. Oatmeal with no sugar, no fruit, no nothing. Oatmeal. That's your morning routine. Oatmeal. That's it. No protein, no nothing, just oatmeal.
With that, which I think is much more realistic. It begins at 6:03 a.m. about when my alarm goes off. And then I go back, I turn the alarm off, I go back to sleep. My morning routine starts again at about 6:09 a.m. when the alarm goes off again. Turn the alarm off again, I go back to sleep. And then the morning routine kicks off again at about 6:17 a.m. when the alarm goes off. Turn it off again. Morning routine picks up again at about 6:27 a.m. when my alarm goes off again. And then this continues until about 6:45 a.m. or until my wife is just like beating me over the head with a shovel to get me out of bed.
Well, Matt, then that certainly explains why this fella looks like this and you look like this. And we can see the heart and the root of your anger and animosity, because this brother don't sleep as much as you. He doesn't have to turn the alarm clock off because he's up before the alarm clock can even turn on. So the issue you have, Matt, is that you looking at a black man who don't sleep as much as you. You wanted to tell yourself that you could outwork anybody. It's just like the average black male on TikTok can outwork you. So that kind of broke your soul. What did you say? The alarm clock can't get your ass up. And you're looking at him. It's like, I'll be damned. He is the alarm clock. So yeah, you're upset because he don't sleep as much as you. So be mad, Matt. Be mad. Be big mad. Be angry. And keep your woman off TikTok. Damn! You don't want her to see this no more, Matt. You all got enough issues there without this intruding on you. You don't want none of this. Keep them problems somewhere else. You don't want it. Now, folks, I would like to tell you that this was the end of the internet foolery, but that would be dishonest. Because we started with Matt and Megan. Now we're going to move over to the old black media. And man, they are stretching themselves to new desperate tactics to get their views up. And we're going to come to that right after we take this non-commercial break. But before we do, I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who has contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. My man, Mr. Richburg, my man, Mr. Chadwick. Thank you both here, Mr. Richburg, Mr. Chadwick. Also to Mark B. and Keith. Thank you very much for your support here as well. Everybody there on the Super Chat, thank you very much. We're going to take a very brief non-commercial break. When we come back, folks, the old black media has taken it to a whole new level. You ain't going to want to miss this. This is the Black Channel.
When you visit MrBeTheTeacher.com, you can get a copy of his award-winning book, Guidelines for the Successful Student. While you're there, grab one of his newest tunes along with fun and educational lyric videos.
Never give up, don't worry, never give up, study. In order to
2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times swap names, he, she, they, and we. Simplify the Daddy divides as the father and guide. Mommy multiplies and shares on what they buy.
You can also acquire his tutoring services via varsitytutors.com or tutor.com. If you wish to speak to Steve Burgess directly, you can do so through MrBeTheTeacher.com.
The Honey Badger and the Mongoose is a children's story for the family of how a honey badger and mongoose fight an evil alliance of venomous cobra, snakes, and hyenas that overhauls the balance of the savannah. The Big Five. The honey badger demands reparations. Will the Big Five give the honey badger reparations? Can the evil alliance of cobras and hyenas be stopped? The best new price for the hard and soft cover is at www.thehoneyBadgerandthemongoose.com. You can also find this book at Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And folks, I've been doing this now over a decade and a half. This is what we do. And throughout this time, we have met many a person here. You've had the old broadcast media slither their way over here into our turf. A lot of folks have been trying to make a name for themselves. Some people can even get views. Most cannot get credibility. I'm proud to say that we have a track record of credibility. Hard earned, hard won, certainly oppressed and depressed by the system and the algorithm, these platforms, and yet still we've been able to make our mark and become influential. But there's some new folks. There's some new folks who things didn't pan out for them in broadcast television and broadcast radio. So they've come into our domain. They've come into our domain and they found that it was a far more difficult, far more bumpy ride than they ever thought it was going to be. And as a result, they have met with limited success. So somebody must have sent the word and told them, look, we better get these numbers up or else. So ladies and gentlemen, on your screens is the latest thumbnail image from the latest episode of Native Land Podcast. What? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on the left is Tiffany Cross. Damn! And over there on the right doing the Ciara squat is Angela Rye. Auntie, chill! Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, this is not AI. This is not Photoshop. Let me show you on your screens, if you would direct your eyeballs back to the screen there. This is from their YouTube channel. Now, I have mine set up so it doesn't automatically play videos, so you can see for yourselves that, this is the thumbnail image. T&A High Thoughts. Oh, man. So let me tell y'all, light-skinned chicks, the struggle is real.
And deal with it, nigga.
Oh, the light-skinned chicks, the struggle is real. What do you do in a world that don't respect your caramel complexion? What do you do? Oh, what's a high yellow girl supposed to do? It's rough out here, people. It's rough. Now, this is the thumbnail image, but please don't be deceived. Please don't be deceived by the thumbnail image, because this is as good as it gets, relatively speaking, when you press the play button.
Production of iHeartRadio in partnership with Reason Choice Media.
By the way, I would say fair use, but you all need as much exposure as you can get, because clearly you can't accomplish it on your own. So,
welcome home, everybody. This is our mini pod. You know, our boy Andrew is out. He is.
No disrespect, Angela. Were those glasses made for you by the damn Toyota people? What? Folks. Oh, this looks like the frame for a car from Nissan. I'm not dissing nobody. And I wear glasses. And I'm just like, whoa. Who said, where is this the fashion? I'm not dissing anybody. I'm just saying, excuse me? Folks, please tell me that this is not somebody's designer. This looks like a bike rack. Please tell me this is not somebody's designer glasses somewhere. Please tell me that's not the case. Please tell me that's not the case. Because I have nightmares that these are the kind of glasses I'm going to have to wear in 20 years when I'm an old nigga, a real old nigga. I have nightmares that I'm going to be wearing glasses like this. You know, glasses big enough to serve dinner on. I have nightmares that that's what my life is going to be when I get to that point. So, well, anyway, they were doing good with the thumbnail image. Then we ended up here.
On a field trip with Jackson and Caroline, my niece and nephew. And in his absence, we still need to talk about something that I know Andrew is doing regularly on his solo pods, which is to talk about organizing. And while we're not hitting that directly, Tiff, I think that it's really important for us to examine, to stretch, to hold ourselves accountable in this moment around tools. Mm-hmm. We keep talking about so many people, not just we on this podcast, but
boy, I'm telling you. So once they got on the screen, I'll be damned, they covered the hell up, didn't they?
He's getting a lot of shine for a rule that works in his favor on the Senate side. We can't filibuster or debate for.
Okay. Folks, pro tip. Ladies, especially if you have a reputation for being a relentless nag. To the ladies, if you have a reputation for being a relentless nag, the last thing you want to do is have a shirt that is lecturing people and nagging them more. So, pro tip here. From a friendly source, I'm not even playing. If you have a reputation for being a female nag, do yourself a favor. Don't buy the jacket with the lecture on it. I mean, y'all see, it's got so much wording, it just keeps going. It's like the opening credits to Star Wars. Damn! So, yeah, don't do this one. In any case, she's got her fancy bottled water. She's got her, I guess, iPhone over there. There's a whole lot going on. So, old Tiffany there is they doing what they can. They're doing what they can there. And so far, that video has 14,000 views. So far, that one has 14,000 views. So, yeah, there's that. Yeah, there is that. They're having to resort to other things here. They're having to resort to other things. So, it's been up, it's been down. Consistency is key. Yeah, they're having trouble with that. They're having trouble with that, so they're trying to get it together, y'all. They're trying to get it together. I warned you all. Oh, Jason, you're just so caustic. Oh, Jason, you're just so abrasive. Jason, you're just so harsh. Angela Rye is literally sitting there with a censored sign over her good and plenties. And I'm just telling you, by the way, I ain't never had to do that to get views. Never had to do that to get views. So what I'm saying is I know a mirror dime. I know when somebody is auditioning for a sponsor. So Angela is up in that New York area. She trying to get on. She's like, okay, look, somebody need to come pay for these bills because I'm too cute and too light-skinned to be doing this. That's what's going on there. So, folks, like I say, last stop, Breakfast Club. Next stop, Native Land Podcast. Next stop, OnlyFans. Damn! Oh, folks, next stop is OnlyFans. That's the only thing after here. If they don't find some old rich nigga up there or some old white man, if she can't find a Donald Sterling, next stop is OnlyFans. And I'm for real. I'm not joking. I'm serious. It ain't coming right. It ain't coming right. I don't have to love anything. Well, you take a look on your damn screen. The money getting show. All of a sudden they stripping down. What are they selling? You tell me where that's going to pay bills. They ain't got to be the finest thing in social media or Instagram. They just have to be cuter than the other black chicks in politics. Their competition is not Jordan Childs and Roxy Monroe. Their competition is Nancy Pelosi. That's their competition. Their competition is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's their competition. Their competition is not your favorite chicks on Instagram or on Tumblr or on your timeline. Jasmine Crockett is their competition. They just have to be better than Jasmine. If they're better than Jasmine Crockett, they winning. They winning. Hey, look here. Okay, I just want y'all to know them thighs got Tiffany Cross a job at MSNBC. Damn! So please understand the market. There's a market. There's a market for some thick legs out there. There's a market. Please believe that. Please believe there is a market. I need you to understand that. There's some old senator, there's some old representative, there's some old college professor. There is some old dude out there somewhere. His self-esteem matters to him less than his money does. So that's it. He's throwing it. So please believe me, I'm just trying to get you straight on where it's at. Yeah, I mean, James Clyburn, I don't know. At James' age, the only thing he can do is wiggle their damn toe. Oh, James ain't ready for nobody to get on top of him at this age. Yeah, one of these chicks try to climb on James, they're going to call it elder abuse. James don't want them problems. James don't want that action. James don't want them problems. He really don't. Trust me. James will be yelling for Elijah Cummings. Elijah ain't even there no more. Oh, Elijah, get off, man. Elijah, where the hell you at, nigga? It's going to be that. It's going to be that. So, please do not be deceived. Please do not be deceived. Y'all, what happened to him? Somebody tell me what happened. They didn't used to have to do this. I mean, let me go check. I might be wrong. I could be wrong. Let me go check and see. Because I do know they kind of do that in the New York market and whatnot. So I do know they do that up there. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, shucky ducky. Okay. So there are photos of Angela Yee in a bikini, too. Damn. Okay, I'll let you all go Google that. Okay, so even Angela Yee threw it out there one time. So even though Angela Yee threw it out there one time. So is this what you got to do when the phone stops ringing? Is this, folks, is this where we at? Is this where we at now? Oh, man. It's a rough ride out there today. The old media, this is what they doing. I've never had to do that to get views. I never had to do that. All I had to do was come with the format, rock the mic, and make it do what it do. I ain't never had to bust out the G-string. I ain't never had to bust out the bikini. I've never had to do that. So to me, I'm like, hey, ladies, do what you do. Do what you do, whatever you're trying to get. I hope you get it before he get you, but yeah, this is what the old media is doing, man. This is what they doing. It's like, hey, look, over here. Now, if we had asked Tiffany Cross to do this 2 years ago, she would have told us to kiss our ass. Today, oh, they throwing it for free? Oh, man. All right. Well, at this rate, we might have to extend a side chick application to them. Damn! Oh, yeah, they have to be out there because I'm not going to have a bunch of nagging. Not going to do it. However, you might disagree. Therefore, we're going to head and open up the Zoom. The link to the Zoom is now available. Let me go ahead and pin that to the top of the chat. So if you are so inclined, you are definitely invited to go ahead and join us on Zoom. We look forward to hearing from you here. If you want to go ahead and weigh in, I know tonight's program has been hard and heavy. It's been coming at you fast. I get it. Covering a lot of ground here tonight. A whole lot's been happening. Carmelo Anthony's crowdfunding, I think, is over $250,000. I think they said on the news. So things are coming together for that. I want to thank all of you because those numbers really spiked after our program. So we done gave him something new to get angry about. We gave him something new to be angry about. While I'm doing that there, I want to thank Nancy King, David Green, G. Mars, and everyone else for contributing to tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo, Tom Slick, Scooby Shuffle, Cyberdon 100, and my man Ty Living Life giving out memberships to the program. So we appreciate that also. That is the gift that keeps on giving. Folks are flopping around like a fish. They're trying to get seen. They're trying to get attention. They're trying to get folks to recognize them. Notice me, notice me. Do y'all realize how many people there are out there right now trying to just keep their heads above water since the pandemic ended? It used to be easy to get views. Not quite so simple anymore. Money drying up all over the damn place. There are fewer slots available as cable television and broadcast TV begin to lose their personalities. A bunch of people are going to come to the internet, but they don't have access to the revenue streams they used to. When you went to work at MSNBC, you signed a contract, so they agreed to pay you before you actually acquired any viewers. On the internet, you have to get an audience before you can get paid anything. So with that being the case, a lot of folks are coming to the internet from cable television and finding out that they didn't find a substitute for where they were. All you've done is enter a hell of a rough neighborhood to hang out in. That's all you found yourself doing. It's bare knuckle. It's brutal. And by the way, you can only show your bikini once. You can only pull this little stunt once. Unless you gonna show more skin, you can only pull this little stunt one time. So I suggest you find a new trick. Not dissing anything, just letting you know, by the way, baby, we see breasts and butts on the internet all day, every day. Not every day, but every day. So you're going to have, if you're going to try to get more attention again, you better try a different tactic. I got a feeling that this one's going to run dry real quick. So you might want to dust off a different tactic if you're going to try to go for that. Otherwise, it's just going to be rough on you. Otherwise, it's just going to be rough. Let me go ahead and see if I can get over here on Zoom. All right, I'm over here on Zoom. I've got Ralston here on Zoom. Ralston needs to wake up there, and then his Zimbabwe broadband is going. Ralston, we can give you about 5 more seconds, then we're going to have to go ahead and move along. Okay, Ralston. All right, where are you calling me from, Ralston? Unmute yourself.
Hey, brother. I'm calling from Milton, Ontario, Canada.
All right, brother. And what's on your mind?
So, a very nice broadcast tonight, and it's been a while since I came on, and this is a good comeback for me. I just want to talk about more about Megan Kelly and Matt Walsh, because I've seen the guy he was really mad about. Uh, it's it, what we're looking at basically is what conservative white supremacist men cannot have, and which is black man swag. I don't know what else to call it.
Well, they can't be challenged. Take a look at how fragile and insecure they are. They're letting you know. Take a look at how he's going in on Megyn Kelly, that white women are not allowed to do certain things. Well, yeah, they want to make sure that you belong to them, you're segregated off for them, and that you are there for them to pick from, and you shouldn't desire anything else. Not another man, not a vocation, not a political persuasion. No, you're supposed to be there and get in line when they show up, and if you don't, we're going to put you in line.
Exactly, and and I put this in the chat a couple of times, is that he's mad because the brother in the video he was watching is making the lady swoon. and I put that as a joke, but literally,
well, he sees a black man, he sees the most devastating thing possible. He sees a black man who can do something that he can't do.
Exactly.
That's the issue. He sees a black man who can do something that he cannot do. This isn't a matter of Matt's opinion. He can't do what that fella does. He can't do it. There wasn't a single thing that Matt saw that man do that he could do. Not even one. Not one. Compression socks. Okay, it doesn't matter if you ain't got the legs for it. Mm-hmm. Put on the watch. It don't matter if you ain't got the arms for it. Put your face in the ice bowl. It doesn't matter if you don't have the muscles that require the whole routine. Matt is like, that ain't gonna do no good. Why would Matt have a facial routine with all that damn Wolfman Jack fur on his face? Matt, that's not gonna do Matt any good. So he sees a black man who can do things that Matt simply cannot do. Exactly. He just can't. Now that's devastating. When you have a person there that you're supposed to be better than them, just born intrinsically better, that's the lie they tell themselves. And every minute of that man's routine, starting from the time that he gets up, he's out working and getting fit while Matt is still sleeping. This man has done more before 6 a.m. than Matt is going to do all week. Oh, that's devastating. That's a blow to your ego. Especially when you told yourself you're superior just because you were born white. Oh, man, no. No.
Exactly. And just to wrap it up, he was super mad of the white attendees. Dare I say, white servants. Dare I say, because as you mentioned, the guy in the video is supposed to suffer. He's supposed to be oppressed, and he's not oppressed enough. And he's supposed to be playing the role as servant. But in this case, the tables are turned, so he's extra heated on that.
Well, it's not just turned; it's undeniable. There are literally no holes in that brother's game. None. From the moment he gets out of bed, he looks alert. He looks, all those things they say you're supposed to be, that they sit up here and try to elevate these white males who used to be in the military on YouTube. This brother here is showing every inch of that. I mean, and doing it with style. I mean, he's kind of oiled down a little bit so the camera got some sheen on him. But there's every inch of that. Every inch from the moment he gets up, there are no holes in the... If the worst thing you can say about him is him and his fancy bottled water... Matt, I took a look at his build and took a look at yours. You could use some more fancy bottled water, my dude.
And deal with it.
You could use some more fancy water, Matt. If that's what he gets from eggs and rubbing his face with a banana, hey, Matt, you need to get some bananas, dude. Pro tip, get some eggs and some bananas in that house. You know that alt-right coffee y'all drink and the oat milk? Whatever in the hell y'all doing over there, yeah, that's not the business, bro. It's not getting you nowhere. And criticizing him is not going to make his muscles any smaller. It's not going to make his muscles any smaller or make him any weaker. So, brother, he's seeing somebody who does something he cannot do. There are no holes in the game. And to be totally honest, Matt sounds like a hoe. That's cattiness. So Matt Walsh wants to sit up here and lecture males about how to be masculine, and he chooses a fit black man to get catty over. I bet you he doesn't even do any of that. You know he doesn't really work out like that, right? You notice that's not, you know he has to set up the camp. You know it's not really 6 hours. You know it's really like 19, right? He sounds like Damn Me Mean Girls. He sounds like the chicks from that show Clueless or the movie, whichever one you want to choose. This is a hoe talking. So much for masculinity. Now, brother, I gotta ask you here, why are you dressed like a Haitian lifeguard? What? Brother, what is going on, man?
The reason is this because it's just a vest.
Okay, I'm just, brother. I was sitting up here saying, is he getting ready to jump in the water? What is going on? I didn't understand it. I saw it, but I'm like, I don't understand the choices. That's the only thing got to me here. Oh, brother, and you know we're so glad you checked in. I always play out. Glad to hear from my brothers in Canada and around the world. So we definitely appreciate that. But brother, the taco meat's coming up to the neck. What are we doing, bro? We got to. I don't want you looking like Matt Walsh, brother. I want to keep you away from that. I want to keep you away from that. Next thing you know, you're gonna be wearing flannel plaid shirts. You're gonna start parting your hair on the side. I don't want it. I don't want it. So I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help. So we appreciate you checking in, brother. Please do give us a call again. Yeah, y'all, y'all didn't see it, but I'm like, oh, brother, we gotta patch it up. We gotta patch it up. I want you to be able to sit next to Matt. I don't want you looking like you went to the same school. I ain't trying to have it. Let me go ahead and see if we can get AD up here on Zoom. Where is AD? There you go. All right, AD, what's on your mind, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Jason? Yeah, the first thing I was listening to, or was the first thing that I paid attention to when he started talking was, he just sounded like very insecure, right? And the thing that kind of got me when he was going on Making Kelly was that I think he's insecure that he has a loss of like grasp of like I guess like the narrative when it comes to like this next coming generation, because he, like kind of what you said like on your last program yesterday was that he is not in favor of like women working in the workplace, right? He's combative on Megyn Kelly's views on essentially like where women want to carry themselves in like their 20s and 30s and stuff like that. So I just kind of stuck with that kind of idea, if you know what I mean.
Well, look, this is about, in his mind, reasserting white male control. Exactly. However, now they're having to say the quiet part out loud because what they notice is that the females are conspiring and locking hands. So now you can't be coy about it. You got to come out and say it. Hey, we put Trump in the White House, get them niggas back in line, kick out them illegals, and you women need to get back in line too. That, by the way, we have not forgotten that y'all been real out of pocket for the last 20 years. You've been real out of pocket, and we played nice up to this point. Now we coming with our hands out. Y'all gonna get back in line too. And the reason for that is because your job as a white woman is to reinforce the white man's power. That's the purpose you were given birth for. All this going to the workplace, that's cool for corporations, but it comes at a cost. And the cost that it comes at is your women now have veto power. But even worse, they have something that, listen to what he was saying, they have something that they respect and love more than you,
resources.
He can't abide, their own productivity. I can get it myself. That's what's really upset a lot of the white men is that Megyn Kelly talking about if you're a woman, you don't need to be Elon Musk's baby mama to have, a swanky apartment in New York. Actually, yes, you do, Megyn. She said you can get it yourself. No, you can't, Megyn.
Especially how some of them are in positions of power.
Well,
Especially in
Megyn Kelly,
management.
Megyn Kelly got what she got because she's blonde and white. Well, white and blonde.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have ever gotten at that law firm if she wasn't. And she damn sure never would have gotten hired by Roger Ailes at Fox News if she wasn't. Roger Ailes was only hiring white women, and particularly young white blonde women. So she is the ultimate DEI hire and always has been, which is why they're the ones yelling against it to try to take your mind off the fact that they are DEI hires. So she never would have gotten there if rich white men didn't give it to her. Never. She wasn't doing that at that law firm. She wasn't knocking it out of the park. And it wasn't until she got to Fox News. If you remove her ability 20 years ago to get into cable television news, she doesn't have any viability. She's just another chick in New York hoping to get married up to some doctor, which she did. But she's just another chick in New York trying to do that. Now, if Megyn Kelly had to start from zero today, it's very unlikely that she would get where she is.
Exactly. And it's really all the same with a lot of these right-wing conservative pundits, media pundits, because a lot of them have either been in the former, let's say in journalism, and let's say some of them may have been a lawyer, some of them may have been a consultant for this political candidate this way or like that. But most of them, they really can't hold a conversation. They can't galvanize an audience. They don't really have anything valuable to add to any sort of conversation. They only are able to galvanize people against Black people for a momentary period of time. But outside of that, they can't. They can't do nothing.
Look, I'll be the first one to tell you that Megan's not a dumb woman. She's not incapable. She is, articulate. She is capable. She is able to analyze arguments. She's snarky as hell, but who am I to criticize somebody for that? But what I will say is that also, let's not overblow it. If Megyn Kelly was 20 years old today and the only outlet she had was to start on the internet, it's unlikely she's going to make it without getting that leg up, pardon the expression, that they got from Fox. That's it. So she's fantasizing that she has a level of productivity and achievement that she actually doesn't. And that's also evidenced by the fact that, by the way, show me the next Megyn Kelly. Show me the Megyn Kelly who has raised herself up on the internet. You can't. The Megyn Kelly from Fox News had to come to the internet. Tommy Lauren ain't never took off. It ain't happened, people. Tommy Lauren is still just a guest commentator every once in a blue moon on Fox. And we were all there during the pandemic when you thought she was about to get on. We thought it looked like she was going to make it, but then she couldn't articulate herself. And then she said some things the white men didn't like, by the way. Oh, yeah, forgot about that. Tommy Lauren started bucking back about where the women need to lead. And I think about abortion. She kind of said some things, gave some sentiments they didn't like. So, yeah, next thing you know, she got scuttled. So, yeah, you haven't had another Megyn Kelly. There isn't anybody else. It isn't, and that's because you can't right now, you can't make it happen. So, and she wouldn't be there either if she had to actually come up on her own.
Yeah, and one more thing before I land my plan is where do you see this take off in this, at least by the next election cycle? Because, on the Democrat side, they ain't really got nobody up for now, right? I mean, they might want to thought maybe, what's his name? Wes Moore, or whatever his name is, from my home state, Maryland. They might bring up, who was that, Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania. But what do you see, at least in terms of, the right wing by, 2028? What do you see this thing kind of take off at by that period of time?
By the time we get to 2028, Trump will have imploded. He is too erratic for anything else to happen. It'll basically be a repeat of his first term. Coming in hot. You were much better than the alternative. At least folk thought you were. You do a bunch of crazy radical stuff. Now he's 10 times worse than he ever was. Much more entertaining to watch, but much more dangerous to have in action. So by 2028, and I predicted all of this here before. James Carville's trying to act like he's got the block covered on that. No, the Trump administration is not imploded just yet, but by 2028, you will. I predict by 2028, you're going to have more Republicans trying to distance themselves from him than marry themselves to him like you have right now. Everybody loves you when you're winning and everybody flees you when you're losing.
Like they never Trump is going to maybe come up from the ashes and try to...
You're going to... Well, what I think is you're going to see, like, for example, Marco Rubio.
Oh, yeah.
Usually for secretaries of state, you kind of see them leave after 2 years anyway. So it'll be safer for Mark to leave next year and then prepare himself to run for 2028 as the not so crazy Trump. So to do just enough to be there for the good years, but to leave before it gets really bad. And then say, hey, I was there. I saw a lot of the mistakes. I didn't agree with them. Let's put things back on an even keel and do that. I already told you all.
Media well, too.
Well, J.D. Vance, his goal is to help Trump here. Trump has no real intentions of J.D. Vance being in anything after he leaves office. So he's like what Kamala Harris was to Biden. So that's basically what I'm expecting to happen on the right. They're going to have to find somebody else. The biggest peril for them is that Trump is the Republican brand right now.
Yeah.
And if he trashes the Republican brand with all of his wackiness, then the worst thing to do is to run as a Republican in 2028. So the real thing you need to stop him for is so that he doesn't trash the brand, because he might not be running again in 2028, but the rest of you will still be Republicans. And you'll still be trying to wash the stench off of you, which will be very difficult because Trump requires everybody to give him base allegiance on the front end. So you're going to go into 2028 talking about, I didn't really agree with all that when you were sitting right there booed up with Trump in 2025. So it's going to be a tough ride, but I predict that that's what's going to occur. And based on what we've seen in the last 2 months, I don't see how it could go otherwise. For the Democrats, the only thing they'll have to offer is, well, we're not Trump. But the only problem for them is when they start opening their mouths. They're going to open their mouths, and the problem for them are their policies. Wes Moore, I mentioned this last week, but I'll repeat it again. He's going to be in trouble when he starts opening his mouth.
Yeah, I think this actually is one of my last things. I don't know if you heard, like, last week, he was trying to dodge the whole. He was trying to dodge like a reparations conversation or something like that. I was like, man, like he ain't gonna make it. If they keep putting a mic to his face, like he ain't gonna last.
Yeah, he's just like a lot of politicians. People think favorably of him when all you see is a picture, and he gives a speech in front of the wreckage of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Okay, well that's easy to support. When you start asking him policy positions, how about that messed up budget y'all got in Maryland? Things like that. That's where it comes off the rails. So when you start getting into substance with him, that's when it's going to go bad. And Kamala Harris was doing great when Joe Biden dropped out. Well, I tell you all, she's going to do good right until she starts answering questions again.
Yeah, what happened to in Maryland?
What happened to her ratings and her polls right after she started answering her questions? Down it dropped. Trump back to the White House. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me see if I can get Morpheus up here on Zoom. All right, we got Morpheus here on Zoom. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, how you doing, Jason? Great broadcast. I came to agree with what you're saying. I mean, you just look at Matt. you could tell he was a loser in high school. But basically, you know, I heard someone else say this, but I'm thinking it more and more, that, you know, how they attack DEI. Everyone thinks it's to us as Black people, but I really think they attack DEI because of white women. Because as you go before that with the abortion thing, because we know the abortion got struck down just because white women weren't having enough kids.
Yeah, I mean, I covered this already too when you had the plane collision there in D.C. over the Potomac. I covered that then because I showed everybody, hey, I showed the receipts on Twitter. The white men are going in on white women. When they were saying DEI, they were showing white women, and they were not referring to white gay women. They
Correct.
said white women, period, to the point that Gretchen Carlson had to take to Twitter to push back against that. Yeah, the white men were asserting themselves, and they made it clear that this is our opportunity to go ahead and start knuckling y'all under, and we coming for you.
And another one recently too was Tommy Lawrence. I forgot which. I think she was with Pierce Morgan or something like that, and she was advocating for men to be married, and all the white people were like getting on her case. I don't know if you saw that. That was like a week or two ago. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't seen that, but I can imagine Tommy maybe trying to rehabilitate her image to a certain degree. The only thing is, her moment has come and gone.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago was when the heat was behind her. She was definitely getting a push from Fox. And just like Sarah Palin, the problem was she can't carry a program. She's not able to do what Megan can do. Megan can sit there and monologue and be interesting, evil racist that she may be. That's a requisite of what we do. You have to be able to monologue in an interesting, cogent, cohesive manner. You can't just be rambling off all over the damn place. You can't just be struggling to find a thought. Tommy couldn't do it. When for little short sound bites, she was aight. She was never brilliant. But what she can't do is carry a program. Okay, if she can't carry a program, then how do you give her a program if she can't carry it?
Yeah. And she had that snarkiness, like even white guys don't like that snarky. Even they don't like Karens.
Yeah, that was a big negative too. She was all right when she could kind of pretend to be soft, but she was never really soft. And yeah, you're right. She was a little too sharp, a little too aggressive, a little too abrasive, a little too in your face. Even Sarah Palin was a bit more reserved with it. Tommy was not. Tommy was straight attitude from Instagram. And you're right, that white dudes like the conservative part, but they've become very sensitive to some of these red flags. So a female who is a little too aggressive, too in your face, too snarky, too sarcastic, they recognize that, yes, she's using that against the liberals, but she could just as easily turn that against us.
Oh,
and we don't really want that.
Oh yeah, if you put that video, it's basically the same thing that you played with Megan. It's her, and she's on the Piers Morgan show. Piers Morgan moved to the YouTube now, and she's talking about how conservative men need to be in marriage, because I guess a lot of conservatives are saying don't even do marriage, and she's very upset about it. And you can see I even think Matt Walsh responded to it. They're all getting on her case. Even worse than Megyn Kelly.
No, look, all the ones who are trying to elevate themselves to a leadership position, that's what they're hammering down. You're not going to be the spokesperson. You're not going to be the tip of the spear. And you are definitely not going to dictate policy. You won't set it. You won't dictate it. We don't even want you influencing it. We already have a policy. That's what the white males are saying. We already got a policy. We're not looking for you to come in here trying to add a lemon twist to the policy. Your job is to back the policy that we've made. We don't need any alteration or anything from you except to back our play. That is it. And now what they're doing is a crackdown on everybody who's been out of line, out of pocket, too assertive, too talkative, too lippy. And they're just saying, yeah, we laying down the real.
What do you think about their coons like Candace Owens? Because she's the only female I can see that talks somewhat like she knows she's talking about, or at least give that impression.
Candace Owens has been going like 40 going north to save herself. Candace Owens got booed up with Daily Wire, and she felt that they had her back so long as she was smooching white ass from here on in. Somewhere along the line, she got sideways with Ben Shapiro.
Yep.
And ever since then, now it's been about the Jews. So I'm not sure where those two got sideways with each other. Although with Ben Shapiro, that's very easy. Although with Candace, it's very damn easy too. So it was actually just a matter of time. So they got sideways with each other at some point. Now it's all about the Jews for Candace. Now that actually worked against Ben. Ben was okay to a certain degree when he didn't say nothing. Then Ben comes out, and he's always worn that yarmulke on his head.
Right.
But now he comes out and talking about deporting people for talking against Israel. Now it's all about the priority is not America first, it's Israel first. Yeah. And remember, the white supremacists as like Jewish folk, you can hang around as long as you're white and not Jewish.
Correct.
So you can't really flex that Jew thing very much. Because remember, that makes you half a nigga. So you don't be flexing that Jew thing. Well, that's all Ben does. So a lot of the right wingers who were gonna fall in line against Candace, all of a sudden saw her as a useful tool for going at Ben Shapiro and Jewish interests. And you've seen that happen again. So she's really flexed that. She's really worked that. It would have failed if Ben weren't so damned unlikable. Yep. If Ben were a little more personable, it wouldn't have failed. But between him and Jeremy Boring, they basically gave her a new lease on life.
Yeah, they did. At first, I thought I was going to make her crash, but the Jews are moving too hard.
Yeah, she was crashing. Let's be very clear. I mean, she was out of here. The debate she had with their rabbi, it went terrible. So all she could really do was sit up there and try to kiss ass, and they were ready to dump her until Ben and the boys became unacceptable. So with that being, and then next thing they lost Brett Cooper. So that's the other thing. Daily Wire lost Brett Cooper. She was a white chick. I think she used to be in television or Disney or something. And the white guys liked her. Now she's just straight white. Well, they got sideways with Brett too. So then Brett leaves. And then Steven Crowder, he was actually the first who got upset because he didn't like the contract they tried to give him. So he was the first one to speak out against them. He never signed with them. He didn't like the contract they offered. Candace was defending Daily Wire, but then she gets sideways. Then Brett Cooper leaves. So they lost all their stars. And you could have survived that because you got Matt Walsh, but that's not enough. You got Ben Shapiro, okay. But Ben is summarily unlikable. And we're not all Israelites or Israelis.
Right.
And so with him doing that, it's like, dude, you're making it where she's the only game in town.
Correct.
You've made it where the folk who left are the only game in town. You are not an actual competitor or alternative anymore. Not anymore, you're not, because you're coming packaged with some stuff that we know is fatally flawed. That gave Candace a new lease on life.
Sure
Simply
did.
because these other folk were so damned unacceptable. Oh, the other thing is Candace has really steered away from politics. So Candace has been talking about celebrities and celebrity lawsuits and stuff. So she actually has not been talking about politics as much since Trump got in office.
The only thing she talks about is posted politics is Jews. Like the last thing I saw her talk about was something about she doesn't like how Trump is deporting that one person because he said something about Jews.
Yeah, I mean, she did speak out about that, but she's been really heavy into the celebrity thing. Yeah. She's been and I can kind of understand that because a lot of folk have learned since the pandemic, you better learn to diversify. A lot of the stuff that may have made you popular then, you better be able to do more than one thing because folks' tastes change, their interests change. Last year was all about politics. The election is over. So can you really go deep down on that now that the election is over? Because the only thing you can do is be a Trump ass kisser or a Trump opponent. If you're a right winger, do you really want to go hip deep off into either of those waters? If you know that Trump's messing up, do you really want to be an ass kisser? And if you have an issue with Trump, do you really want to go in on him now and face a bunch of folk who are Trump lovers sitting up here going at you, which is what happened to Candace and a bunch of folk there before. So she's made some comments. What you said about Jewish folk, I mean, certainly trying to make it illegal to criticize Israel. She certainly highlighted that and made a point of that. But she has not been straight politics like she usually was before the election. She's really diversified into something else. And I think that's smart, by the way. But she's really diversified into something else. So, but let's be clear, she wouldn't have gotten here if the Daily Wire hadn't become so damned intolerable.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing about one other coon, Whitlock with the Nick Fuentes, Nick kind of getting in his butt the other day. You saw that?
No, I trust. I haven't had a lot of interest there, but I can certainly understand. I don't know why people keep doing that. that's really not a bright thing. Nothing good can come of it. Nothing good can come from that kind of conversation.
Well, he was just basically saying what everyone that's black says. You're just a token. You're just used to say the racist stuff that we want to say.
Yeah, I mean, when they want to pull your whole card, they can.
But Tariq had talked about it. He said an interesting thing. Nick is Mexican, and really that whole thing was jealousy because he can't be used like a Whitlock can be. Because they don't really trust Nick like that. Because even though he may look white, they still with him he's Mexican, which is almost black in the white supremacist mindset.
Yeah, you should never mistake them supporting what you say as being supporting you.
Mm.
So being a useful tool is when you carry the party line. You should never confuse them congratulating you for towing the party line with congratulating you. Accepting what you say, you shouldn't confuse that with acceptance of you. So in Nick's case, he's had to overcompensate. There's a real thing about Nick. He's had to overcompensate to try to make his credentials less arguable. Because otherwise, they would dump him too. The only thing is, like I say, he hasn't really given them a reason to because he can't. He doesn't have the option. But right. he's a wannabe. He's a white supremacist wannabe. And what do wannabe gang members got to do? They got to be the wildest of the bunch. They got to be the biggest crash out because he got to convince the rest of them not to go in on him.
Yeah.
So he got to rep the set harder than any of them.
I saw something that some white supremacists was on Twitter and they were saying that they prefer FBA coons because I guess we know how to coon it up to a point because the other ones, like you said, they overcompensate, like the Myron Gaines, like they just do too much. They just blow up the whole spot.
Well, I mean, people respect you if you exude power and authenticity. They also respect you if you're not a puppet. So you can take the puppetry to a point where people are like, okay, you're a meme. You're a caricature. And it becomes, you get so bad at it that not only do we not take you seriously, even your puppet handlers don't take you seriously. Because you're just too out there with it. You're too phony.
Yeah.
And that's a bad spot to be in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with these women because, I know that most of this is going because their numbers are down. You see Elon, he's impregnating everyone and he's making a whole bunch of women baby mamas, but no one is saying anything. No one is criticizing him. He has more kids than Nick Cannon. And we know
and then I'm glad you mentioned that because Elon is upset because one of his daughters is been criticizing him and I don't know if she's wanting to be LGBT and all that. Well, hey, Elon, when you got 11, 12 kids by 4, 5 different women around the country, around the world, what do you think's going to happen? You can't be a father to 11 kids in 4 or 5 different cities and be the richest man in the world running all these companies and sleeping at Trump's house. You can't be a father to all those people in all those places. Hell, I'm surprised half of them ain't out here LGBTing it up. Because he has not been there at all.
Oh, well, it's funny you mentioned that. His dad did an interview basically with how Elon keeps his family control. He has a trust. And if you say anything bad, he'll cut you off. That's how he keep them in line. But I guess this one that's a trans, they just don't care. But that's
he's kind of in a bind because the bottom line is as long as they're minors, he got to pay for them. So that's not optional. You got to pay. If you stop, them chicks are going to take you to court, and now they're going to get real paper. So that's the part he really wants to avoid. So it's not so much that. And by the time they get grown, they're going to have to do something useful, regardless. But the bottom line is, if they're young and they've, it's like, they start getting bratty. But then again, what has he raised them to be? The only thing he's given them is his money. He hasn't given them his leadership, his discipline, his care, his providing, his legacy, his responsibility. He hasn't done any of that. He can't.
Yeah.
There's 11 or 12 of you by 4, 5 different broads. Yeah. He can't do it. So I will never hear a family values lecture from that jackass or anybody else there. But but brother, we've been through this before. Remember Sarah Palin in Bristol? So every time this happens, ever since Sarah Palin, that broke the whole damn monopoly. I know they were mad as hell that Bristol Palin didn't have the abortion because they were like, we'll never be able to use this against the niggas again. We will never be able to play the teen mother / illegitimate baby card ever again. And it hurt even more if they were running against Barack Obama. His two black children are legitimate, and the white woman is over here trailer park messing it up. And they were furious about that. They're like, we'll be damned. We'll never be able to use this again. And they've never been able to use it again. Because if they try to use it at us, we going to say Bristol Palin. And now we can say Bristol Palin and Elon Musk. So they're making problems for the movement. They're making real problems for the movement.
Not only that, you said that the fastest demographic of baby mamas in America is white women. It's increasing.
Well, certainly fastest growing, and as you get older in age, and that's another thing right there, is this is what upsets the Matt Walshes and stuff. You have women who are talking about babies in a sense of not needing the men. That's what they become sensitive to. They understand what Megan is saying, that you want a man, but you shouldn't need one. Well, if you're not needed as a man, then what purpose do you serve?
And that's probably why they don't want no career woman either. Because they know if you get a career woman, she can play that card. But it's hard for the ones that are, they never went to school.
Oh, well, let's be clear. A career woman is not that she may play that card. She will. Facts. She is going to flex on you. She is. No ifs, ands, or buts. Tell whatever accomplishment you think you got, she thinks she can compare herself in some way. So you would really have to be light years above her. And even then, she's really just only begrudgingly conceding to that. So these guys recognize that as a real issue. It's a real problem. It's not that she has the job. It's the motivations behind it.
Right.
And they can see the attitudinal changes. That's the part that's really the problem. The attitudinal changes.
Yeah, I think a lot of women, besides just white women, but women in general, I don't think they're realizing that men are adapting in every demographic.
Well, up until now, it's been a one-way conversation. Please remember, brother, you and I have sat here and listened to them tell us for the last decade about the black female vote, the black female vote, the black female vote. And if it wasn't for me telling you all, the black male vote is going to be the issue this time. But that's because I'm on the ground and I see how things are changing. I'm not waiting for MSNBC or CNN to tell me what the deal is. I got my ear to the ground, and I can see what the changes are. And that's where I saw what it was. And next thing you know, here comes Barack Obama. Hey, where the men's at? Where the men's at? And then the articles, the black male vote's going to matter more than ever. And I'll be damned, when the election happened, whose male vote were they talking about? So, yeah, but up until now, it's been a one-way conversation trying to convince you that the only thing that matters is what the females have to say. And for the white men in particular, that's been a particular bone of contention because they're supposed to be setting the tone for everything. So by telling them that they're irrelevant, it's like, oh, well, let me reassert myself. Let me remind you who runs this damn thing. So we're okay being invisible. What we're not okay with is being disrespected. We're not okay with that. So they're having to take major invasive steps to reassert their primacy. And a whole bunch of folk been talking reckless and getting out of pocket and saying things as, we're well beyond the Al Bundy days where it was a humorous joke. These chicks ain't joking no more. They mean this. And so it's like, okay, now we got to block everybody now.
Yeah, I think that's why they hate what they call them, the liberal feminists, because I've seen those white women, even though I don't think they mean it, but they would say it. They'll talk about white supremacy, which I'm looking at them like, you're a white woman. Why are you talking about white supremacy? Whether they mean it or not, I know white men are not going to like hearing white women say that out loud.
Yeah, but well, understand something. That's part of the tactic too, though. Remember, back during the hippie era, the young white kids were talking about racism. They were big on the civil rights movement, but because the civil rights movement was destabilizing to the World War II generation of whites. So this is why you saw white women like Gloria Steinem running around with black women, because that was destabilizing to the white power structure. So anything and everything that could destabilize them was useful. The LGBT thing has been used by both sides to destabilize. So you had a bunch of folks sitting up here backing that because that's destabilizing. So whatever the establishment wants, the tactic has been you go in the other direction. Whatever it is. If they want clean water to dirty up, if they want you to eat toast, you eat bagels. Whatever they say, the answer is go in the other direction. On every issue, don't even question it, don't ask about it, go in the other direction. So if supporting black people destabilizes white male power, that is a tool that you'll see a number of white women use. Not so much because they're big on us, because when we start talking to them, you start seeing, okay, no, it's because this is a tactic. Right. So they don't confuse people saying something because it is their political position or it's a political tool with genuine affection for you. Don't confuse those two.
Yeah, that makes sense. It tracks too, because like when the black man got the right to vote, that's when you start seeing feminism. And then I can see when Barack Obama became president, even though we know he wasn't powerful, the image of that, you start seeing white women really asserting themselves from that point, if you think about it. Or am I tripping?
Well, I mean, they have been rising there because Hillary Clinton was in the background. So please understand that there's two flavors of it. There's the Hillary Clinton flavor and the Sarah Palin flavor. So, but the bottom line is, by the way, which flavor of white supremacy would you like? You know, that's what that really comes down to. Neither one of they were only arguing over who was going to hold the knife to cut the white supremacist cake. That's what we have to remember. So that was something playing in the background because Barack Obama was not threatening. And said, oh yeah, one more thing. Everybody knew what the deal was. Now, let me remind you, everybody knew what the deal was. Everybody knew that the deal was that Barack Obama was going to have his run. And when he was done, Hillary Clinton was going to have hers.
Trump messed that up.
Well, now understand. Now, this was 2008. Please remember that. Remember, in 2008, they thought it was going to be a fight at the convention and whatnot. And remember, they said a couple days before the convention, Barack Obama sat down with Hillary Clinton, and they agreed that she was going to support him for president now, and that he was going to support her for president, either in 2012 or 2016. It had to be 2016. And that was the agreement they came to. And then she goes to the convention and endorses Barack, and away we go. But please remember, everybody knew that's what it was. So why would you have a problem supporting Barack as a white woman? You want his presidency to be successful so that it makes it easier for him as a popular president to endorse the woman you came for. So why would you not want that? And furthermore, he's not going to do anything to undermine you. Now, they knew that from the beginning. He ain't going to do nothing to undermine us. As black folk, we found it out later. The white folk knew that he ain't going to do nothing to us. We all right. And that's exactly the way it went. So when it was time for her to run, once again, what undermined her was being so damned unlikable. Barack Obama was likable and charming. Hillary was not. She was Tommy Lauren 30 years older.
Yes, that you're correct. That's exactly what she was.
Yeah, she's smart, she's capable, she's snarky, she's sarcastic. She is every white man's despicable ex-wife.
Yeah.
When they looked at Hillary Clinton, any white man who's been divorced and run through the ringer in court, that was his ex-wife right there.
Yep. And that's why they don't like Tommy. That's why they don't like Megan. They reminded that you hit it on the nose, because even Megan gets a little snarky too. She gets a little snarky, and she lost when she got snarky with Trump. That's when, if you really think about it, that's when she really fell off. When she got snarky when Trump, I think it was 2016, when she was still working at Fox. She had that weird haircut, and she was like really going at Trump.
She certainly asked some questions that rubbed him the wrong way, and that's how she found herself in the wilderness after that. So she has been trying to reestablish her white supremacist credentials ever since, because the bottom line is, without that, she doesn't have anything. And now she's starting to let the real thing leak its way back out again. And I'm like, the next time she goes into the wilderness will be the last time.
Oh, yeah, because she's already getting too old. She's too old in most white dudes' minds. But, yeah, she's definitely getting there where she can't use her looks no more. Roger Ailes is not there no more to hook her up. You know how Roger Ailes was, as long as you show legs, you got a job.
Yeah, when she rubs them wrong this time, it'll be the last one. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me go ahead and get called. All right, let me see if we can get Brother Elijah up here on Zoom. All right, Brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
Hey, big brother, how you doing? Good evening. All right.
All right, brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
Yeah, excellent broadcast, brother. I got a question because I've been having this question for years about Megyn Kelly in particular, but I wasn't able to articulate it and get it off the ground. I used to watch Fox News, particularly for the same reason every other men, well, like white men, they actually had the hottest, outside of black women, they actually had the hottest women on the channel. You're not tuning in to listen to what they say, you're tuning in to look at the women, like early morning and everything like that. Okay, every woman was hooked up to their credit. And I looked at Megyn Kelly. To her credit, yeah, she's smart, but more so, she was actually in her younger years. She was a actual beautiful white woman, and I never understood this. You was at the top of the line of white women at one time in your life. You had other things to worry about. Why would you you have so many options, choose the white supremacist route?
I mean, well, look, I mean, certainly that's where you get the greatest benefits from.
Mhm.
That's where she's politically and sociologically socially aligned with.
Right.
Megyn Kelly suffers from one of the feminist illnesses of our era here. She is a female who feels that she has not been respected and revered on male terms.
Okay.
That's her issue. She wants to have the men respect and revere her the way that she sees them respect and revere Bill O'Reilly or Sean Hannity, or Rush Limbaugh. She's like, I'm as smart as them. I'm as capable as them. I've done everything. Hell, I'm probably smarter than some of them. And she is. And she wants to get that respect. She wants to be respected on that level. That's the one she wants. And that's the one that's eluded her. So she's gotten all the other accolades, but what she hasn't achieved is their respect. That the level and the caliber that she thinks she's supposed to get. And she's carrying a grudge as a result. Now, there are a lot of females who are the same way.
Right.
There are a lot of females who are the same way. You know, and I've seen this in my life. I've seen some females who should have been in higher positions than they were. Now, I'm not talking about, the military or something like that, but certainly in the civilian sector, I've seen females who they were more, capable, they were far more friendly, they were people you could work with better. But the fact that they were females, and I'm talking about white women. Women. The fact that they were women couldn't help but notice they didn't get any further than they were. Now, that's something that they've dealt with. Now, I'm not saying that that's overwhelmingly the rule, but what I am saying is it's something that exists. It does. And yeah, there are a lot of females who overvalue themselves, but there are some who really are capable. And they can't help but notice by the way, you can't give me the excuse you gave the others who are not capable. And they're carrying a grudge as a result. Megyn Kelly is what happens when one of them who's carrying a grudge actually gets through. Now that she's on the inside, she's begun taking a sledgehammer to the foundations of your house. Now that she's on the inside. Now that she's in, she's deconstructing your house from the inside. Because she's offended. Now she's like, I don't want your money. I want your blood, not your money. Because I've been disrespected, and that's an issue.
Brother, I want to build on something you was talking about. Excellent what you just said, because I could have never thought of something like that. But you was talking about the whole when you was talking about the Democratic Party and the Republican Party by 2028. So what you was saying basically, they're in the same boats, same boat with the Democrats. Like they don't really have anybody because I can't, me personally, with all due respect, I can't see this country electing two people, a Jew and a Hispanic, because it's never happened before. Because the question is, if you're so good, why couldn't you be good like that in Israel? If you're so good, why couldn't you be good like that in basically in Cuba? Barack Obama was an anomaly because he actually had a white American parent. So they played the game and try to play on the Negroes' emotions at that time and everything like that. So that was the only way I can actually see something like that. But when you're talking about, because the Democrats, they have, I can see them losing in 2028, regardless of the Trump phenomena or not, because the conversation is reparations. If they're not talking reparations, and the message is getting louder and louder.
Well, here's the thing. The thing is, if Trump messes up, people are no longer voting for who's the best. They're voting for the one who's not the worst. So that's the triangulation that the Democrats have been angling on. The Democrats have become the problem for the Democrats is generational. You've had a bunch of old timers. Anybody who saw the television show Boardwalk Empire, that's the problem with the Democrat Party right there. When this big political machine of very corrupt individuals who have put together, this machine that allows them to feed at the trough. You have a bunch of old timers. They're the old corrupt political machine, Tammany Hall. And that's what they set up for themselves. What happens is you had a number of younger people come in, and those younger people are like, hey, we're here to upset the status quo. And you got the old timers trying to hang in strong. That's the problem there with them. That's the issue. And that's the real stumbling block for them. The old guard is no longer acceptable, so you can't trot anybody from Biden's generation. Truthfully, you can't trot anybody from Obama's generation out there now.
Right.
So because the electorate is very, very suspicious at best and unpalatable at worst of them. So that's not going to work. You can't do that. So they're fighting tooth and toenail now to determine who will be the next one. What they're angling towards looks like either Gretchen Whitmer or Gavin Newsom. Both of them directly plugged in to the old machine. Gavin Newsom plugged into Nancy Pelosi, and these other folks plugged into, the typical Democrat machine. Josh Shapiro out there in Pennsylvania, I think he's been very smart to be so low key. He sat back in the cut and he's watching everybody else just wash out. And I predict he's going to make his move in 2026. He's going to start making his move in 2026. And when he's articulated what the message will be, and he's going to become the anti-Democrat Democrat. In other words, he's going to rerun Bill Clinton's playbook from 1992. He's going to rerun that one. And now that one can win. That one can win. Take a look at John Fetterman. That one can win. So when you say you don't see them electing a Jew, it's no problem to do that. What the country would have an issue with, somebody who's going to be Israel first. That one right there, that's going to end up terribly for the folk who keep pushing that. And America has no problem electing a Latino. That's not an issue either. He'd have to be on the right side of things. That hasn't been the real problem. The real problem has been, connecting with the people has been an issue. Because you tend to have, where Latinos are concerned, black folk tend to have to be nationwide. Latinos tend to campaign and do things regionally. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is New York. She plays in New York and nowhere else. Ted Cruz is Texas. He plays in Texas and nowhere else. Marco Rubio is from Florida. He plays in Florida, but nowhere else. I thought Mayor Suarez of Miami, that was a smart dude. He was capable, a number of other things. Getting them to be able to play in a broader place than the state they're in. that's where they tend to have issues. They tend to be really balkanized and really regionalized, and that's not conducive to running for president nationally. That's where they have the issues.
Big brother, I wanted you just mentioned let's go back to what you just said though, Marco Rubio. I think with all due respect, big brother, with what just happened, I'm not caping for anybody, but with that situation with the Mahmoud situation, how he actually got deported and he was an actual legal resident in the United States and everything like that. I'm pretty sure that's going to have some very serious political consequences, right? Am I right or wrong?
You're wrong.
Okay. Oh.
Right. The problem is the Biden administration was so egregious, so outrageous that America is willing to accept some excesses in reverse. Biden was so egregious in allowing a bunch of folk in no matter what that America is willing to accept it. Okay, there were some excesses in pursuit of executing the policy that America voted for. The people will accept that. Now, if you start having some Caucasians get deported, okay, that'll be a different matter.
Okay.
Now, if he grabs a Caucasian and drops him off in Syria somewhere, now that will be a problem. But for these other folk, nope.
And then you mentioned, even with the Democrats, Gavin Newsom, and I'm out here in his state right now, and Governor Gretchen Whitmer. That woman, they could try to run for president, but the problem is how they treated their Black residents, because every time I see Governor Gretchen Whitmer, I always think about the Flint water crisis. My question is, where are you going? I look at Gavin Newsom, you have a reparations problem. Where are you going? Josh Shapiro, maybe he might be a little bit, I can see him being the most realistic, okay, possibly. But both of them other names, they hurt Black people. They didn't help them at all, if I'm correct.
Well, look, I don't think that reparations is necessarily the thing. Is what they're trying to do is circumvent that conversation. That's what the Democrats are trying to do. Okay. They're trying to do that. In the short term, that's not going to be a problem because folks' attention is somewhere else. That is one of the side effects of the election. I understood that going in, and I was willing to accept that in order to reset the board. When it's time for them to gain support in the long run, they're going to have to come back biased. They got to. You're going to have to come back biased. And if you ain't talking any differently for 2028 than you were in 2024, reparations doesn't even have to be a frontline issue. You just have to have us demoralized. There's nothing on the agenda for us. Because right now, here's the thing. We are looking for direct contribution. Right. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for something that directly deals with us, for us. And if a Josh Shapiro runs, hey, bro, we've been giving things directly to Jewish folk here. What you going to do directly for us? So that actually is an issue that he would have to grapple with directly. So there's where the conversation needs to be. I'm perfectly fine. Reparations, I think, has served its purpose as far as a narrative to get people used to the idea of saying we need to do something specifically for us as Black folks, specifically. No indirect stuff, no lifting all boats. What will you do specifically for us? Not minorities, not people of color, not disadvantaged communities, specifically for the Black. People are far less afraid to say that now. And if you're not talking that, everybody's got the memo. There's no reason to vote for you if you're not going to do anything directly for us. I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, Big Mother, I'm going to ask this question and I'm going to land my plane. I promise, all right, for the other brothers and sisters. There is one part of the Democrats that scares me, and a lot of us forgot about. The issue with the Democrats, two things: the sexual agendas, because if we get them back in there, you know that's going to be back on the table. and they're going to reinforce that, and then also that immigration situation. How are they going to win with those two things? Because that's their agendas.
Well, here's the problem. If Trump messes up the economy, people are going to be less concerned about the social issues thing. The social issues thing works as part of an overall narrative if you're blaming somebody else for something. If you create a bigger issue, then people are going to put out the bigger fire first, not the smaller one.
Okay, yes,
so
sir.
That's the peril that they run there. The Democrats are calculating that Trump is going to screw up. He's going to make himself so unacceptable and the Republicans so unacceptable that the American people will vote for the lesser of two evils. The Democrats are in no way trying to figure out how to become a positive. They're running the old playbook. Vote for us because we ain't them guys over there. And that will work if the Republicans make themselves completely unacceptable. That will work.
Yes,
it
sir.
will. Because, like I say, if Trump screws up badly enough, they'll have no issue. I mean, they'll have no choice. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Please understand what they're doing. If Trump messes up badly enough, they're going to be like, hey, we'll go for it. We'll go for it. If he messes things up bad enough, they'll vote for the lesser of the two evils. Our thing is to make sure that we're clear with everybody that if we're not on the agenda, you ain't going to get our vote. 2024 was a bellwether moment, but only if you can follow it up with similar action for 2028. Democrats get their asses broken open and they have lost the black vote in 2028. That becomes the wake-up call right there. That people really do take it seriously. They're not going to back down. This is not blowing off steam or venting. This really is the new normal, and they're really not going to come back to vote until you specifically pony up with something. But I also want you to understand that is going to lead to ramifications for other people. You see, there's a number of folks who made it clear that ain't what they trying to pull. Ain't that right, Bernie Sanders? Damn! So you see, it's going to be real awkward for some of these other folks when they try to slither back through the door and try to convince us that now they're down with a different agenda when we saw something different the entire time and they were the biggest, loudest voices against us. Ain't that right, Elizabeth Warren? What? Whole bunch of folks who, when it comes time to have credibility, they will have none. Whole bunch of them, when it's time to get some credibility, they will have none. So when we start talking about what the agenda is, you can't make them the spokespeople because we know that they're not with us. We know that they're actually adversarial. So that's going to be difficult. I'm just letting you know that's going to be tough. When you try to send them out as the representatives or mascots to convince us that the agenda is legit. The only goal we have to have is to be steadfast and firm and adamant that we're not moving off of this. We're not moving off of it. We're not letting it go. This is the issue. You can give it whatever name you want to. We are demanding concrete tangibles. Nothing representative, no scholarships, no educations, concrete economic tangibles. And that we say it in no uncertain terms, and if we say that and then you start trying to dance around the damn issue, it's going to be problems. And see if you can make it through 2028 without us the way you made it through 2024. Now, there's going to be the real issue. However, and I've said this before, Republicans run the peril. They've actually tried to tell themselves that black folk are becoming more, quote, conservative, and that we are willing to accept their white supremacist agenda and that we don't want to be woke no more, and that we say that racism doesn't exist. So they're telling themselves all kinds of lies. They're telling themselves all kinds of lies and delusions, which of course are going to be proven untrue. But that's what they're saying for themselves. But just understand, for the Republicans, if they don't get on the good foot, if the Republicans don't get on the good foot with some tangibles, things can go bad for you too. Things can go bad for them too. That can go rough for them. If they don't have the agenda, if they don't have anything to offer, they need to understand, buddy, you riding on a knife's edge. You are riding on the razor's edge in the Republican Party. There's not this overwhelming support for what you're doing like that. For certain issues, yeah. But as far as having the black vote locked down, it's not like that. You can only be the not Democratic Party to a certain extent. You can only ride on not being the Democrats to a certain extent. And one more thing. Donald Trump won, and he could get a certain amount of black vote to vote for him because Donald Trump is not really a Republican conservative. He's a populist. He's a populist. Now, that's what did it for him. That being all over the place, people recognize, he's not really the typical one for that. He's kind of all over the place, but yeah, he's a populist. Whatever is the prevailing sentiment, that's where he's going. So Republicans need to understand that, by the way, you can get it too. You can get it too. Democrats can get it first, you can get it last, you can get it too. Don't tell yourselves that we're just going to come for you, don't mistake what we're doing for something else. But it only works if you hold fast to it. In the meantime, people, the white supremacist right-wing civil war is on. It is on and popping. It is on and going. In the White House, they're going at each other. In the media, they're going at each other. And all I'm saying is that I wish I was there to sell swords and shields.
And deal with it.
Oh, I just wish I was there to sell swords and shields. I wish I was there to sell maces. Oh, I wish I was there to do that. Megan, would you like airtime? Do y'all think Megan would like to take some airtime? Oh, do I need to buy some billboards for her? Oh, where does Matt Walsh live? Where does old Moist Matt live? I'd like to buy a billboard in Matt City. Just a billboard, the big old billboard of Megan Kelly saying, Matt Walsh, shut up. So, boy, I'm telling you, y'all think it's ugly now? Wait till Elon gets out. Oh, when he leaves, then it's going to get real ugly. And, and one more thing. Please don't mistake or misinterpret or misunderstand the current animosity towards Elon Musk. Please don't misunderstand that. All Elon Musk has to do is give $100 million to support a Democrat candidate, and they gonna be back loving him again. Damn! Please understand that. Please understand that's the way that works. Understand all will be forgiven and forgotten. If they need to win the election, if he tips the algorithm on Twitter, if he gives whoever the Democrat is $100 million or $200 million, all will be forgiven. The very folk trying to burn his cars up now will be the very people sitting up here telling everybody need to buy a Tesla. Please understand that. Please do not be mistaken about what you've seen. Please don't think of it as something other than it is, because this what is, I'm letting you know right now, this what it's going to be. That's how it works. This is political football. This is how they settle their disagreements and their quarrels. This is how they settle those things. But don't you think it's something other than what it is. Today, they're cursing Elon Musk's name. He throw enough money around. He boosts their cause. They win some, and they have to credit him. Next thing you know, he's back to being their darling again. Yeah, there'll be some people holding a little grudge, but other than that, they'll fall in. Most of them will get back in line. Most of them gonna get back in line. You understand that. Do not misinterpret it. Don't be deceived and don't be fooled. They know what they're doing. My job is to make sure that you know. And now that you've seen it for what it is, that's important to keep in mind too. So going forward in the future, you know what you're looking at next. Meanwhile, hey, how much you think it'll cost for a show for Angela and Tiffany?
Damn! Auntie, chill!
Yeah, but they looking like they need a sponsor. They trying to look like a snack over there, so I'm just, can we go ahead and make this a little bit easier on them? Can we make it a little bit easier? What y'all think the going rate gonna be? What do you think it's gonna be? Countdown to OnlyFans. Oh, tell them don't put it out there. Don't make it this easy, ladies. Don't make it this easy. Don't make it this easy. We're gonna have to determine what the going rate is. Obviously, things are getting rough over there, so we gotta get the going rate together. We're gonna go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who's contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Thank you here to LG Pinter, Arthur Akello. Thank you all very much for your support here tonight to everyone here. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, Black Channel Films, check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.